All right, everybody, welcome in to the Central Committee stream. We are live. Wow. Hope everybody is doing well today. It is Tuesday, August 25th, 2025. Can you believe it? Can you fucking believe it? Everything that I've said about the Democratic Party establishment for years and years and years at this point has come true. Where do I want to begin? We didn't even, yesterday I was going to talk about the melting down over the Charlie Kirk song, but then they melted down over another invented scandal where they were trying to pretend that Hassan was saying Jews are bringing anti-Semitism on themselves, which is not what he was saying. He was saying Zionism in support, unrestricted radical Zionism, where they use Jewish identity as a shield for war crimes, will cause a rise in anti-Semitism, which is a very cold, ice cold take. They tried to prevent that he was saying Jews deserve it, which he never did. I've been put on notice for having a free Palestine sticker on my car by my employer. I would definitely 100% sue those motherfuckers. No, I don't know. That's really weird. I would take that to HR. Or honestly, I'd quit. If it were me, I would resign immediately. Put in my 2 weeks that same day. Or honestly, I would just say I quit and then leave and then not put in my 2 weeks. But then again, they might try to sabotage your next job. So listen, you got to take care of yourself. Be responsible. All right, be responsible. Love how they can't control themselves. They attack Assad and everyone gets sick of the centrists. Guys, if the centrists had the ability to make people dislike Hassan, they would have done it already. They can't. They can't. That's the thing about Hassan. He's not a typical pundit. Neither am I. To a typical pundit, they exist off of access. When we turn on CNN and somebody's on one of the panel shows and they have that smug face and they're saying some shit we don't agree with, they're there because of access. They don't have any power. And if CNN says, fuck that guy, and never brings him out again, you'll never hear from him again. Hassan Piker is uncancelable unless he gets banned from every platform. That's the only way. They don't have the power to do anything. All they could do is try to intimidate Democratic politicians from working with Hassan. Because in a general election, you need the entire Democratic Party to work against the Republican Party. But this is the crisis we're in right now, which is the establishment Democrats don't want to win. They don't have extra incentives for winning. They don't have any consequences for losing. Whereas on the Republican side, they do. I think everybody doesn't understand this, but the two parties are not the same. The Republican Party is a party that is designed to win as many seats of power as possible. And if they don't, there's massive consequences. The Democratic Party is not built that way. And the reason why the Republican Party can operate that way, the Democratic Party can't, is ironically, by being slightly more corrupt, the Republican Party is just nakedly the servant of the oligarchs. And so the oligarchs have the goal of winning and then knowing that their politicians will do what they direct after they win. So they fire people who lose. They fire people who are bad. That's why they've managed to... That's why they have gone towards Trump. Initially, they were against Trump because there was a Republican establishment that was very similar to the Democratic Party centrist establishment. And they had a theory of winning elections, the median voter theory, that was wrong. Donald Trump proved it wrong. And so all those people were fired. We call them never Trump Republicans. They were the previous Republican establishment that did not comply with the new direction of the party that was winning elections. And they were fired. In the Democratic Party, there's never a consequence for losing. Seen that the Democratic Party establishment that we have has to be ripped out. We can actually start to grab hold of the ship of state and steer it in our direction, but it's going to be a violent process. Over the weekend, a screaming match broke out between Florida's Democrat Senate candidate. Violent is metaphorical, bro. When I say the ship of state, there isn't a ship called like that we take over. There's not like the USS Congress ship that we're going out into the ocean physically to take over. It's a metaphor. It's like, I know you're illiterate.
Angie Nixon and the chair of the state's Democrat Party. The establishment warned her that socialism would kill her campaign. And
this is fucking based. This is so funny, dude. Holy shit. This is... If you want to know how well it's going attacking Hassan, they're now attacking me. You got us mentioned on Ben Mora's game show? What the fuck is... I'm gonna ban your ass if I'm not mentioned on this.
Star Wars.
This person feels older. Like I'm picturing like Mike from PA. You may not know this person, Ben.
That's not my keyboard at all. This is my keyboard. That's not my keyboard at all. I don't have a fucking lightsaber ass mouse pad.
Like the with the scrunchie, the cat. It's like, you know, the zero sugar crush. I don't know. I think maybe they're a little older and straight because, you know, straight men do discuss.
Oh, this is the straightest. This is the straightest desk of all time. What the fuck? Of course. Yeah, this is a dude. This is a long-haired dude. For sure. No doubt. Mike, what's going on with VU count this morning? It's the same as it always was, bro. It's called 7 a.m. This is how it works. People have to wake up. The fuck do you think this is? Whenever people send me a VOD, I'm like, God, streams people speak so slowly. How do you guys handle it? West Coasters, SFDH. So true. Anyway, what was I saying? All right, we need to make a new title. Fox News is now... I mean, fixating on me is smarter. I'm a lot less charismatic than Hassan. I'll be completely honest with you. Like, I'm much more easy to just blatantly lie about than Hassan is. Because I'm an average guy. And my status is dependent upon status markers. Whereas if you're like 6'5" and a model, you know, people don't... There's certain things you can't argue about the guy that you know what I mean? So, I'm just saying. By the way, my clip, like, who gives a shit? They're trying to say I'm violent because I said the process of ripping them out of the establishment out of power will be violent. Like, what are they even trying to say? Okay, let's watch this.
We're 10 weeks away from Election Day, and the battle for the soul of the Democratic Party is about to take a major turn. The communists are warning that it's about to get violent.
We have seen that the Democratic Party establishment that we have has to be ripped out. Wait, was I on Breaking Points? I don't even remember this. Was I even on this show at that date? I honestly don't even remember. Also, flashbanging the cat tree. He can actually start to grab hold of the ship of state and steer it in our direction, but it's going to be a, you know, violent process.
Over the weekend,
guys. Okay.
the screaming match broke out between Florida's Democrat Senate candidate, Angie Nixon, and the chair of the state's Democrat Party. The establishment warned her that socialism would kill her campaign and drag the whole ticket down. Angie told the woman this, quote, "You never gave a care about me from the beginning, and now you're telling me how to run my campaign?" Angie beat the machine with no name ID, no money, no ads, just like Abdul in Michigan, who's warming up in the bullpen. And now Angie's telling the party to stop gaslighting her. She's doing things her way. And her way is simple. She wants to run the country like her communist bookstore.
We do more than just having banned books there. It's actually a community hub. We offer free mental health resources and services. We offer free health care clinics, free tutoring, free mentorship programs, right? Free Plan B.
The morning after pill with your coffee? I don't know what Angie's cooking up, but it's not working.
I think one of the things to understand the right, you have to understand that they are actually not really the same as you, right? Like, imagine that you are, when you were like 11 or 12 and you went to sex ed, right? And the teacher was like, this is the penis, this is the vagina, this is the vas deferens, and this is the prostate gland. And some of your classmates were like, oh my God, they said penis. Ah! And they were just dying. And you're like, okay, that was kind of funny the first time, but now it's just a class that we have to sit through. Who gives a shit? It's not that funny, bro. Imagine that mentally you were that, you never advanced. That's most conservatives. Like, someone said Plan B, bro. I reckon that's the morning after pill, bro. Yo, morning after pill with your coffee, bro. Whoa. And it's like, yeah, the Plan B. It's supplementary birth control. You know, if somebody can't afford $50 or $75 for Plan B and gets pregnant, that could be really bad. So offering that subsidized in a community space without judgment could help avoid unwanted pregnancies and therefore less unwanted children or more serious medical interventions like abortion. That's a good thing. You know, that's a good thing. You're like, oh my God, people had sex. Yo, bro, they had sex. And, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm an alien because of the exact way that, like, the exact era that I grew up and the exact way that I was raised is apparently so alien to the average American that, I guess it's also the way that I'm wired. It shocks me when I watch this shit. Like, I look at this shit and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I came from a household that I, you know, when I was growing up, generally considered themselves to be conservative. But they were just not fucking weird. They were like, you're getting older. You know, here's the right way to be. It's not a good idea to have high risk behaviors. Nonetheless, here are the, like, scientifically based approaches. This is the way that you should behave. But if you make mistakes, we'd rather you come to us when you make a mistake and be honest so that we can mitigate any harm, as opposed to being all fucking scared that if you come to us, we're going to kill you. It's like, I just thought that was normal. But apparently most Americans do not have normal families. What is considered normal is fucking weird, man. I'm trying to imagine my parents being like, Plan B, morning after pill, and it's like, because to me, you know, listen, they've got a lot of flaws. I love my parents. They've got a lot of flaws. They're boomers. But they would never be this stupid. I think it's because my parents actually valued intellect. I think that's what it is. You know, even though they were Catholic and technically you're not, I think Plan B is not, like, the pill is not okay in Catholicism. You're supposed to use, first of all, fornication. That's bad, chat. That's any sex outside of marriage, right? That's fornication. That's bad. They don't like that. Okay? Not supposed to do that. That's a bad thing to do. You fornicated. Don't do that. Don't do that. Exactly. No, don't do that. Sex is bad. No, that's not Catholicism. No, you're incorrect. Catholicism is not like evangelical Christianity. They'll say you can sexo, but it has to be, you can't, you know, you shouldn't be taking the pill or using condoms, okay? Although I think the Pope Francis said using condoms in areas that have outbreaks is maybe okay. There was a big fight over that. Oh, the clip was from the Choose Your Fighter rally. Oh, I guess they just searched for the word violent and they got a clip of me. Anyway, long story short, what I'm trying to say is, why are people so fucking weird? I don't understand it. We have the internet now. How the fuck are people so fucking weird? She provides free Plan B as a service to her community so that low-income women can avoid unwanted pregnancies. Well, like, what's the issue here? What's the problem? The fucker? Why would you even mention this? How is that? It's not even a humor. You're just stupid.
The chance that the GOP wins the Florida Senate race, according to Kalshi prediction markets, Ashley Moody, it was
Kalshi prediction markets, guys. Kalshi prediction markets just said that there was a 95% chance that Vindman won, and then he lost by 10. I think they might be stupid. We're now watching clips of Fox News covering a Kalshi ad on CNN. This is the quality of news we've got. We are legitimately getting dumber by the minute. Do you think the internet made people like this, or do you think people have always been crazy, but the internet has made it more visible? The answer to that is the latter. We used to be much more geographically sorted, and we used to have relationships with people that were close to us and culturally, and there would be sorting. Like, I would not run into a Southern evangelical. That would not be in my milieu. Okay? I had the blessing of not encountering them. Or when I encountered them, it was incredibly distasteful and kind of funny, right? We didn't have that. That was a part of the Northeast. The Northeast didn't have a large amount of Southern evangelical Protestantism. It wasn't a thing, and that was less influential in our politics, right? But now the internet is creating these incentives and these connections where you're encountering the dumbest pieces of shit, but they're also fighting each other. It's why ultra leftists are also more annoying online, because they can form discords. And instead of the ultra leftists looking at their 500 member Discord, which they don't even get that big, their 200 member Discord, and realizing this is every single person in America that agrees with me is in this Discord. Therefore, my views are extremely marginal. They think everybody thinks like me because that's their social milieu. The other thing, and this is very important, is that these algorithms, and Fox News in particular, were invented to cause harm. These algorithms are altered to spread propaganda for political reasons. Fox News is there to lie and manipulate. Like, they are intentionally malicious objects that previously did not exist.
84% on Sunday. Look where it is now. A 95% chance, up like a rocket. It turns out that nominating a self-described democratic socialist in a state like Florida, where there are a lot of, let's say, Cuban refugees, is...
Here's my general position on this. This is the kind of like conventional wisdom that makes people dumber than if they knew nothing. This is kind of the crisis that we have, is that a lot of the conventional wisdom, the stuff that is traded in our kind of like media spaces, are actually worse than knowing nothing. Like, by watching CNN, you're actually less intelligent than if you went and jacked off, or clipped your toenails, or took a nap, or played with your dog, or cleaned your girl, like literally anything. So this is like informational sludge that if it's in your brain, it actually makes you dumber. And what do I mean by that? Let's be very specific here. He's saying that Cauchy odds have predictive value, and that by Vindman losing, the Cauchy odds got worse. Therefore, the Democrats' chance of winning Florida has gone down. That is, and the reason why is because Nixon is a left-wing progressive candidate, self-described member of the DSA, okay? And that is hurting her chances of winning. Now, what's wrong with all of those things? One, Cauchy odds are based on nothing. They're based on vibes and previous results. There is no actual evidence that they are operating under any actual knowledge. It's conventional wisdom that is traded up. We don't have any evidence about this being the result, and it's almost certainly wrong. That's number one. Two, people that are super anti-socialist are already Republican. They have made that transition, and they made that transition 10 years ago. No one gives a shit. And in fact, if you actually look at the evidence, DSA member, and for example, Jared Moskowitz's district, Oliver Larkin did really good in the Latino areas. The places he did bad were the white rich people. You are incorrect. Your analysis is based off of bullshit. It's based off of conventional wisdom. Most people in Florida do not give a shit about Cuba unless they're already anti-communist freaks, which are overwhelmingly Republican. This is the Florida Democratic Senate nominee. Look at the Cauchy odds. There's just a screenshot. The day before the election, they had Vindman at 93%. And then, oops, looks like Angie Nixon won with 56% of the vote. This shit, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And you can see something similar in Wisconsin as well with Francesca Hong. Now, that race was actually tight.
It's not necessarily the smartest idea. The Democratic Party and those Democratic voters essentially probably taking this race off the board.
Sources inside of the party are just buckling up and waiting until it's over. They say Angie's in the engine room now. She's the national story. And
by the way, and this is something to understand, is that the Democratic Party in Florida has tried time and time again. Let's take a look at who they're running. Florida governor race, Ballotopedia. Okay, let's take a look. All right. Okay. Governor of Florida, right? Look at the partisan breakdown of Florida governors from 1992 to 2013. Do you see any Democrats? Since 1998, it's been nothing but Florida Republicans. Okay. Prior to 98, it was nothing but Florida Democrats. Let's go to 2022. They ran Charlie Crist, who got blown out by 19 points. Well, Charlie Crist must have been a progressive. Charlie Crist must have been a progressive who had been flirting with DSA. Oh, he's a former Republican governor of Florida. He got blown out by 20 points. Why didn't the centrist Republican running as a Democrat median voter theory? What, Ron DeSantis is closer to the median voter than Charlie Crist? Notice how this doesn't, no one on the center ever looks at this and recalculates anything. Can you imagine if Nixon loses by 19, the exact same distance as Charlie Crist? Are they going to go, being a moderate and a centrist is the same? Okay, let's go back to 2018. Andrew Gillum, 0.4% defeat. Wait a minute. Well, Andrew Gillum, since he was close, he must have been the moderate. He must have been the moderate. Okay, we don't need to hear about his crystal meth. I want to know about the campaign that happened. I don't care that after the campaign he got caught with meth and now he's a loser. I'm talking about what he ran on. He actually ran on legalizing marijuana. He was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He wanted to raise the corporate taxes. So Andrew Gillum was actually a pretty strong candidate. How about that? All right, but what about 2014? Obviously, 2014, the Democrats must have run somebody really, 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 really left wing. Wait, Charlie Crist again? So you've been running these Republican motherfuckers over and over and over again, and they keep getting destroyed. But now we're supposed to believe that running a progressive is actually bad?
Press will move on to the next disaster next week. I won't. I have a soft spot for Ange. She's electric. We're sending Johnny to the coffee shop to buy some porn. Yeah, she sells porn. But the DNC is trying to spin it like a win.
Clearly, she showed that she could win. And that's what matters the most. At the end of the day for us, as much as the Republicans are going to try to make a big deal out of this, I've always said there's more that unites us in this party than those differences. And yes, we are a big tent party.
Ken's confused. Democrats haven't won anything. A communist won a primary, and she's going down in November. Democrats are still shut out of power. Fetterman says if they don't take back the Senate, it's Abdul's fault. And James Carville, he says get your own tent.
Some of these people will tell you they don't like the Democratic Party. They think it's co-opted evil, that it's no different than a Republican Party. Good. Don't be a Democrat. Don't use the word Democrat. If it's such a horrible thing, why don't you call yourself the Socialists of America or the Independent Socialists of America or the Unaligned Socialists of America, whatever the you want. Don't use the word Democratic in it.
The Democrat Party is transitioning. On Capitol Hill, the Commie Caucus is about to quadruple. The Democrat Socialists of America is now larger than any organized socialist movement in American history. They're calling this a guillotine-curious moment. Establishment Democrats are telling the Times, quote, they pose, in my view, a mortal threat to the Democratic Party.
Jonathan Cohen, who is, of course, taking a Republican billionaire. See, here's the problem with America. And there is no, I should say it in no uncertain terms. The problem with America is that Wall Street has its tentacles around our neck. And there's various forces within the Democratic Party that are represented by those tentacles. There's really nothing more to say, okay? The Democratic Party either rips those tentacles and honestly, Wall Street needs to be controlled. I personally would like to see massive trials. I mean, indicting every single member of the C-suite of all America's largest investment banks would probably be a good start. We have a system that is dysfunctional, and the reason why China is doing so well and America is doing so poorly is because in China, Wall Street is run by the government. Their largest banks are owned by the government. When people borrow money, they borrow money at lower interest rates if they're contributing to the national security, the development, the infrastructure of the country. In America, our society is focused on maximizing profit for paper-pushing bankers in Wall Street. That is what the reality of our system is. We have disincentivized people in investing in hard capital in the physical world in favor of index funds, bonds, CDOs, synthetic CDOs, collateralized debt of all forms, futures. We now have people paying a subscription fee to Donald Trump to get his tweets milliseconds before other people so they can front run whatever bump that Donald Trump puts in the market with his tweets. Does that sound like it's making America stronger? If I pay Donald Trump $100,000 to see his Twitter or his truths first, so I could front run buy the stock and then immediately sell it and make 10 cents in a microsecond per share, have I advanced America in any way? Or have I put money in Trump's pocket and served as a tax collector off of the irrational market fluctuations induced by the president of the United States? Have I made America better? I have lined my pocket. I've made the country worse. And that is the logic of Wall Street. That is the logic of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Our country is losing a war in Iran because our military industrial complex can't even make weapons anymore. It's all a fucking scam to sell America overpriced Wunderwaffe that costs millions of dollars to shoot, and then to put in the incompetent politicians like Marco Rubio and Donald Trump that actually shoot the weapons. So now we have to go back with hat in hand to buy these overpriced pieces of shit. Meanwhile, we're shooting Lamborghinis at Iran, and they're hitting back at us with the financial equivalent of a Yugo, and the Yugo is winning. Actually, it's more like a moped. And this is fundamental, or a lawnmower, not even a riding one, a push mower. And I hope I'm a mortal threat. I would love to be a mortal threat to Jonathan Cohen. If my followers were mortal threats to Jonathan Cohen and every person at Third Way, I would be proud. And of course, when I say mortal threat, I mean, this is metaphorical language. This is because the Democratic Party, I don't know if you know, is not alive. It's a fiction. It doesn't have a pulse. So it doesn't have a body. So when you say mortal threat, you're using an analogy. You're using metaphorical language. Okay? I don't know if you guys know this.
This party lacks leadership, so they're feeling around in the dark. And the only guy with any swagger, any name recognition, well, we've all seen him naked.
I know everything about the laptop, more things than I want to know. I've seen you with your out. I've seen you.
Okay, this is fucking disgusting, dude. I'll be honest with you, chat. You want to hear something wild about me? I never looked at the Biden laptop shit. I never looked at any of the videos. You know why? Because I find the Biden family contemptible and it's not funny to me. I think it's fucking disgusting that his son was traveling around the country, taking up jobs like running Amtrak, like literally on the executive board of Amtrak, while completely cracked out of his mind, fucking prostitutes all over the country and the world, while at the same time his father was putting black people in prison for decades for having small amounts of the same drug. I don't find that cute, man. I think it's legitimately racist to like Hunter Biden. Like, I'm sorry. I can't, whenever I see that guy, I can't help but think about the faceless millions of people whose lives were ruined by his father's policies on crack cocaine. And Hunter Biden seemingly has no remorse or no shame at all. Like, fuck that guy. Like, honestly, I legitimately don't get it. He's not intelligent. He's a fucking scam artist. His entire family are nothing but hucksters. And his father is a corrupt, evil genocide heir. I don't give a fuck.
With a crack pipe in your mouth. My question, are you running for president?
I'm here to announce. Yeah, exactly.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
No,
Here's my thing. If I announce for president, then somebody should check and see if I relapsed. That's what I. No.
Whoever takes up the mantle is going to have to put the commies on a leash, because right now the Bernie bros are running wild, and somebody's about to get mauled. They might even bite mom. AOC dropped the pronouns from her bio and disavowed woke 1.0, called it crazy. Oops.
Calling it crazy isn't just like careless language. It's revisionist history, and it's unacceptable from politicians who, by the way, owe their careers to the exact energy.
I'm sorry, guys. Like, it's not 2019 anymore. You gotta learn to, you guys have gotta get your shit together. You guys gotta get your shit together. Donald Trump is trying to put you in prison, guys. You gotta learn the AOC, whatever the way you feel about AOC, you gotta get mature. I'm sorry. Millennial leftists, please. You gotta grow up, man. It's not 2019. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. It's embarrassing. It's legitimately embarrassing. Grow the fuck up.
They're now describing as some sort of silly aberration.
Okay, nobody is talking. All right, when we're talking about woke one, we're talking about annoying tweets. We're talking about performative shit on Instagram. We're not talking about the protests. We're not talking about even police reform or other issues. We're talking about slogans and performative shit we did. And also the culture of cancellation where you try to go this you as if that's meaningful political shit. It didn't work. I don't know if you noticed. It didn't work. We haven't changed our beliefs. We're changing our methods. Why are people so, again, it's embarrassing. I don't know, man. She never specified that. Yes, it's called you're not supposed to be stupid. You're supposed to be smarter than that and not invent things to get mad at. That's an entirely different sentence. They were asking her about Francesca Hong's tweet about Thanksgiving. They were not asking about a protest. They were not asking about a demand. They were talking about a Thanksgiving tweet. That's the context. If you add additional things, you're inventing it to get mad at, and there's something wrong with your brain. Are you a toddler? You should have talked about, here's the thing. Here's the way I feel. A lot of people are going to go the way, they're going to do the Jimmy Dore thing. I can't stop you. A lot of you are going to be Jimmy Dore of 2028. In 2020, Jimmy Dore endorsed Tulsi Gabbard. You're going to do the same thing. If you are fixated on AOC now, you are going to be Jimmy Dore. It's unfortunate, but your brain, you were never really that intelligent. And I don't mean this to be I'm trying not to be that mean. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But I mean that is, you never really understood the arguments that were being made. You were just at a group affinity. You were in an emotional moment. You didn't really understand what we were saying. You vibed. And in elections, vibing is good enough. If you're going to vote for what I want you to vote for and it's because of a vibe, I'll take it. Okay? I can't read everybody's heart. But you kind of proved you didn't understand the arguments by your actions going on later. I need you to understand, if you're spending any of your time right now going after AOC or trying to fight AOC, you are fucking crazy. I need you to understand that. There is something wrong with you. And I know that people don't like me saying this, but we are not in normal times, okay? This is a situation where they're trying to put us in prison, including Breakthrough News they targeted. Do you think AOC is going to target Breakthrough News? There are people that are now in prison for decades because they were carrying leftist literature. You need to grow up. And again, it's all right. You're allowed to be the Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore's type trot shit is always going to exist. I'm just telling you that you are going to be that. You're not going to win and become popular or something. You're going to be, were you not alive when she was pushing for strengthening the Iron Dome? All right. Honestly, I think we should just go our separate ways. I don't think you and I are going to be friends. I think you don't have the intellectual, I don't think you have the intellectual rigor to pass go. I just think you and I are just not going to be friends. And I don't mean that, and the reason why I say that is, I don't think politics is for you. I don't think politics is for you. And when I say that is, there's something called chronological time, right? Chronological time is events happen and then other events happen after them, right? And it's important for us to understand where we currently are is by making sure we have cause, effect, and we keep those things in a line. I think you have a problem with linear time. I think you have a problem with sequencing events and understanding their connection and causality. And again, this is more of like, I'm getting angry at you, but it's because you're not mentally equipped to operate. And it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. Politics is about understanding that policy is implemented through the government. Okay? That is how, and many times people that previously had one opinion have a different opinion, and they interact with they implement the policy of the new opinion. And that is what they represent in material reality. They will have a previous position and then events will alter it. They will adopt a new position, and they will be representing that position within the political realm. Do you understand what I am saying? Are you struggling with this? You have to understand, like, part of the reason why they have these positions is their egos have adopted, and exactly why people do this, I'm not sure. I can't tell you, but I'm just observing. They've adopted a position. You cannot do anything through the electoral realm, which has never been what theory says. That has never been the position of any theoretician on the left. But they have reduced that down to a position that they hold. And they've now adopted their ego with this position. This position has never been held by any theoretician on the left, whether we're talking about Marx, Lenin, Mao, whoever the fuck else, which, by the way, the reason why you know their names is because they were, or Castro or whatever, is because they were pragmatic operators who were able to take in the moment and come up with strategy in order to alter material reality. They did not have a fixed position and hold to it. That is not what they did. And so you have adopted this position, you put your ego onto it, which is nothing positive can happen from the electoral realm. And then you work extra hard to try to confirm that ego, because it's a core identity of yours, is that you've adopted this core identity that nothing can happen through this electoral work. So therefore, I have to try to discredit and undermine it no matter how successful it is. And I have to flatten all distinctions between various outcomes. You have become stupid. You have become stupid. And it is actually that simple. I could go through and break it down for you, but you are inferior intellectually. And I don't think you can be fixed. And I don't want to fix you. In fact, I would just like to get you away from me because you're kind of like a black hole. Okay. No clips. Gotta have some. All of us support strengthening the Iron Dome and other defense systems that are committed to a sovereign, safe, and secure future Israel. To protect the future, we must believe the United States must help achieve a ceasefire that allows hostages to be freed, humanitarian aid to be delivered, and peace talks to begin. That is no longer her position. She changed her position, I want to say 3 years ago, and she made a firm commitment. No support, AOC, no funding for Israel. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she will now oppose all U.S. military aid to Israel. The shifted position puts the New York Congresswoman on a course that, quote, sets her apart from other potential 2028 White House contenders. Now, why is this important? Because of the second part, this part. If she does not win, then the alternative will be a pro-Israel Zionist, and the Palestinian people may be exterminated. And so, unless you are in Gaza right now, playing with their lives, to me, is a moral depravity. It is. Now, I disagreed with AOC in the past, robustly even. I was part of the people that told her position was wrong and she should change it. But then when she changes it, and here's the other part, there are no other contenders, right? This is what makes it politics instead of whatever you're doing. I am deciding, while she has a record that is not perfect, I am nonetheless making the decision to support it because it represents substantial policy change, which will advance the ball tremendously in severing the United States' ties to Israel. And it will put in a wake-up call to all other people that an anti-Israel politics is viable and available. Every anti-Zionist politician or every person who's rewarded for shifting against Israel, that means more people are shifting against Israel. You seem to think that is the position of politicians, and that's going to happen. It is not going to happen. I want to make this very clear. If things continue as they are, Israel will probably be able to complete the genocide. I need you to go understand, like, unless American politics significantly changes, Israel will probably be able to complete the genocide and will annex the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian people will probably be exterminated. I need you to understand that's the path we're currently on. And, you know, we have to do everything we can to oppose that trajectory, which also involves understanding how that trajectory is being sustained, which is primarily done by what? American military aid and support. I will support a flawed person in order to try to prevent that outcome, as opposed to whatever you're trying to do, which doesn't even have a goal. You're not even acting in a political way. And yes, AOC is privileged. AOC could be better. All these things are true, but they're irrelevant to the point of power. Reading Death of Democracy right now is scary how familiar it sounds. One part that stands out is when the Communist Party, the Weimar, saw the Social Dem Party as worse than the Nazis because they were seen as traitors. The left fractured and the right consolidated behind the Nazis. This allowed them to take power without having a majority. I worry the same is happening. I mean, of course the same is happening, but I wouldn't say that the communists are 100% to blame. The Social Democrats supported the proto-fascist elements during an abortive 1919 revolution, thereby staining the Social Democrats with the blood of the working class revolutionaries, thus creating a permanent fissure. That hasn't happened in America. AOC has not endorsed some sort of genocide of communists. That has not happened in America. In fact, she has gone out and said it's a free country. You can be a communist. That has not happened. What happened in Germany did not happen here. And Social Democrats have not always allied with fascists. That's not true. It's a contingent historical event that happened due to a specific orientation of a specific polity. You're reading history as if it is a fact that occurred in all circumstances, and it did not. You don't even understand the arguments that you're making. You don't know the context of them. Like, that's the problem. I know who you are. I'm not impressed. You haven't read. I know you haven't. And I think the problem is, like, people see AOC as an end goal. AOC is a means, not an end. This is what's so insane. The means of saving our own lives. The Soviet Union is gone. Maoist China is gone. The China we have today is a non-interference China. They don't attempt to, they don't export socialism. They're neutral on socialism abroad because they believe it has to happen or it has to arise organically. And their experience of attempting to export it led to global isolation of China and the immiseration of the Chinese nation. That is the reality we're living in. We're not living in some sort of revolutionary. We don't have some socialist power that's ready to rise up and save us. You don't know what you're talking about. And if you are not a member of a socialist organization, you're not socialist. I think this needs to be said. If you're not a member of an articulable socialist organization and you're not doing actual organizing, you are not a socialist. Maybe you have an affinity for it. Maybe you like the ideas. Maybe they are interesting to you, but you are not a socialist. And I think a lot of people have confused their Reddit account or their Twitter account or their posts with work. So AOC lied about being a socialist since 2019. No, she was a member of DSA. I know there's various conflicts over how many dues she paid or whatever the fuck. I know she's current now, as far as I know. Also put on blast the fact that other avenues to support the Palestinian people have been dried up and squandered. It's not squandered. They got suppressed. Did you guys not see what happened to the Gaza encampments? Did you not see how many people were deported? Did you not see how many students were expelled? Have you not seen how many people faced criminal charges? Because they're being suppressed by the state. And I think, like, listen, AOC is a very flawed person, but this is just crazy talk. Do you not see what's happening? Are you okay? This is happening today. U.S. set for largest mass visa revocation in history, targeting 200,000 foreigners, officials say. The Trump administration is preparing to revoke the business and tourism visas of 200,000 foreigners who have applied for or are currently seeking asylum status in the United States. The State Department is now expected to announce in the coming weeks the revocation of so-called B1 and B2 visas issued between 2016 and 2026, whose holders have sought asylum or are now seeking asylum. Based Alaskan asked for a hardship a membership of DSA. If you can't afford to pay, you could ask for a dues waiver. The anti-electoral nonsense comes from a certain section of left media, but I won't name names because I'm not ready to fight stand culture of people. Here's the thing. I don't want to fight these people. I like a lot of them, and I feel the same feelings they do, but you've gotten fixated on AOC, and it's unhealthy, and you're wrong. You're just wrong, and you're now being counterproductive, and you need to get a sense of reality. I have a lot of criticisms of AOC. In fact, I've done it a million times, but the problem is every time I feel like I need to criticize AOC, I see the way that our politics is actually going. Do you understand how much pressure Abdul is under right now? Do you understand how much he's being attacked? And you think you're powerful. They will join the bandwagon and shut up when AOC run is underway. Some of them will. The more intelligent grifters will, but not all.
They can just dismiss and move on from.
So the Democrat establishment, they're the ones on the leash. You have a faction of energized, door-knocking radicals, savvy with social media, going through political puberty, realizing they're stronger than they think.
Would you accept an endorsement by the DSA?
I would not. I'm not going to sort of look into all these endorsements. I'm not going to reject an endorsement by certain individuals at the DSA, but I'm certainly not seeking the endorsement from the DSA.
I'm not saying no, but I want everybody to know I'm not asking. Van Hollen, he's the front runner for Schumer's job if the Senate gets new blood. Abdul in Michigan says he's going to chuck Schumer overboard if he gets in, and that's a big if. The far left's proven they can win primaries here and there. They've proven money can't stop them, but can they win a general election? Can they win statewide? We'll find out in 10 weeks, and Michigan is the biggest battle of them all. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
I think like one of the things about me that disgusts me the most is irrational behavior or actions without a goal. Whenever someone is like acting a certain way, I'm like, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? I don't think that chatter knows. I don't think like, what are you trying to achieve? You're just making noise. Are you trying to get attention? What are you trying to achieve? Being performative is more important than helping your fellow Americans targeted by this system. I know. Essential theory, Mike, the method, in my humble opinion, is to be thinking, am I swag? Where is to be swag to be normal and woke and chill and smart and chill and normal and nice? You can be normal and chill, and I believe in us. Everyone needs to be more swag and chill out and think more clearly. Yeah, of course. They want third party. Third party is there, baby. Third party is there. It doesn't work. You're allowed to just try. And when your shit doesn't work, you're supposed to be scientific about it. That's what makes us Marxist. We look at things, we test them, and then we go. We are constantly evaluating our actions in material reality. It doesn't work. And I want to make something very clear. Abstentionism is part of the system, dumbass. Large sections of people throwing their hands up and not participating is part of the system's design. That's why they don't make you vote. In fact, they would be happy if no one voted. They'd show up, vote for themselves, and win. They would be perfectly happy. Abstentionism is part of the program. Third parties that get 1% of the vote are part of the program. That's part of the system's design. Side note, you did some work on the Dave Explains. I skipped ahead. That's don't worry. I did not listen to this entire thing. Hakeem Jeffries went on CNN to yell about Hassan.
Slamming what you called the malicious claim that American Jews are inviting violence against themselves as, quote, dangerous and anti-Semitic. Was that in reference to far-left influencer Hassan Piker and his recent very controversial comments?
Yes, those comments were dangerous, malicious, and anti-Semitic, and should not be tolerated by anyone in the public square. What we've seen is a startling rise of hate crimes all across the United States of America, but particularly in this moment directed against our Jewish brothers and sisters. And everybody, regardless of ideological perspective, should be willing to denounce this rise of anti-Semitic rhetoric, hate crimes, and bigotry, and actually try to move us to a society where we embrace everyone, even where there are differences on issues, be they foreign or domestic. The notion that people should be targeted because of their religious beliefs or ethnicity or race, whatever the case may be, that's fundamentally inconsistent with who we are in this country.
Yes, indeed. Hassan Piker's clout among Democrats, though, particularly some younger Democratic voters, seems to be growing. We saw, for example, his prominence in the Michigan Senate Democratic primary. So why not call him out by name in your statement if you feel so passionately about this issue?
I've just addressed Hassan Piker's comments as it relates to the Jewish community as forcefully as I can, and I will continue to do that.
Yes, but in your original statement, he was not addressed by name. That's why I was raising the question.
Anti-Zionism is rising as a response to what Israel is doing. It will simply not be possible to treat it as a marginal viewpoint that can be shamed or shunned into invisibility. Yes, anti-Semitism often cloaks itself in anti-Zionism, so don't do the anti-Semites work for them. If you keep telling people that if they oppose the Jewish state, they must hate the Jewish people, eventually they will believe you. Ezra Klein is inside the establishment circle, so when he has the exact same analysis as Hassan on Zionists equating the Israeli state with Jews as a whole, and that being a proximate cause for increased anti-Semitism, none of the establishment smear merchants bat an eye, because it's the same idea. Hassan says if Zionist organizations say that Israel represents all Jews and that Israel commits a genocide, that will cause anti-Semitism to grow and that will harm American Jews. That's the same idea. It's not saying that American Jews deserve it. It's saying that Zionism and the Israeli actions are not representative of Jews and should not be allowed to say they represent all Jews. That's the point, is that Zionism and anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are in opposition to each other. AKA, if you're an anti-Semite, you are going to oppose justice in Palestine. Why? Because you recognize that the injustice is what helps grow anti-Semitism. That's what Nick Fuentes understands. He doesn't give a shit about Muslims. He doesn't give a shit about Palestinians. He doesn't give a shit about international law, but he sees the way that people viscerally react to the atrocities, and he uses it to redirect people to anti-Semitism. We are trying to protect the Jewish people. We are fighting against anti-Semitism by being anti-Zionist, by fighting for universal human rights. And this shit is honest to God fucking embarrassing.
Broadcasts that have mentioned Trump's massively unpopular war with Iran. Only 44 broadcasts have mentioned Iran. Hassan is clear that the distraction for the right is chosen to distract away from Trump's historically low approval rating. And many Democrats are actually caving to this framing, and they're leaning into it. Okay?
Great reply, Mike. This does smell like the Dem party forcing a statement. Yeah, this is DC consultant shit. I could smell it from a mile fucking away. I know I read it already, but like, this is the type of stuff the Democratic Party loves to do, which is like, so the Republicans are doing some sort of bad faith smear. It has 2,000 likes on Twitter. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about a 2,000 like tweet. Then Abdul makes a statement about a 2,000 like tweet. And now every single newsroom in the entire country can write a story about it. So congratulations, Abdul and Democrats. You have now fallen into this shit. You have fallen into this shit. Now they can make all these, Abdul El-Sayed refuses to renounce Hassan Piker. So now the volume is going to go up. Again, as I said, it's not a fatal mistake, but it will become a fatal mistake if it keeps up. Because what will happen is, if he keeps making nothing statements, people and people keep reporting on it, then people are going to make more tweets about Hassan Piker, and he's going to have to make more nothing statements until eventually he will condemn Hassan Piker, in which case he'll look super weak, and then it'll be like, why'd you take so long? And then
yeah, They'll say, why did you take so long? Why did you even campaign with him? Because remember, if you give in to the false framing here, addressing the bad faith Hassan smear campaign on the merits is tacitly lending credence to the manipulated or fabricated statements. It's not only a political miscalculation in that the Dem establishment and GOP will never give progressives credit for capitulation. Give an inch and they'll take a mile behind you while you're looking for a pat on the back. But it's also a fairly basic logical error to assume that rationalizing with a dishonest actor in any context will appease or disarm them. Stop giving air to these attacks. Simply allow the class of pundits and politicians who are hyper-focused on a Twitch streamer leading into a midterm election that is clearly about delivering economic relief and actually representative of government for American workers scream themselves in the circles like crazy people. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. It's never going to cause people to let up. And they immediately started doubling down. AIPAC doubled down. Democrats for Mike Rogers doubled down. Yeah. Yesterday, I saw a right-winger arguing with a lib. They disagreed on practically everything Hassan was brought up. And like a switch, they were both in agreement that Hassan is a crazy anti-Semitic terrorist. Brother is getting attacked from all sides. Yeah. The thing is, there are, I think, liberals who are vying for a position of power that want to become DNC consultants that are doing this. And then there are already pre-existing DNC consultants that are doing this. I think people in the real world don't necessarily give a shit about this, no matter how much it's covered in the news. At least that's not been my experience. It, once again, is designed to make you feel that way with the algorithms that we see on Twitter, with how crafted and how echo chambered the permissible messaging structure is on.
I want you guys to understand something. Twitter is not real life. It's even less real life than ever before. The place where real political sentiment is among normies is on places like Instagram and TikTok. That's where the real sentiment is. Those are the platforms that people are using the most. Twitter is irrelevant. Twitter is millennials and older. The site fell off horribly when Elon bought it. Those of us who are still using it are using it because we're addicted to it. And we're just, we're like the last listeners of disco. Okay. It's fucking over. Twitter does not matter. It is a old people fucking website, and it's full of bots, and it has no fucking relevance. How do I know? Compare the following of Vindman on Twitter and Blue Sky to his following on places like Instagram and TikTok. That's why he got fucking destroyed, because it is a fucking dead, irrelevant platform. It's where the Discord is hashed out for cable news. It is where the billionaire class and their sycophants operate. Nobody gives a shit. Do you know how many people say, oh, I saw you on Twitter and then I started watching your stream, Mike? That's like 0.1% of my audience. How many people saw me on Twitter and then liked my tweets and then came and watched my stream? One? Two? There's 4,200 people here. The point is, I have 55,000 plus followers. What am I at now? 55,200 followers. This shit has no motion at all, because Twitter users, I don't know if you know this, are Twitter users. They're stuck on Twitter all day. It's a useless website. I don't even like the fact that I use it. I wish that I could if I could do one thing, I could take all the time and effort that I put into Twitter and have moved that to TikTok. I would have been 1,000 times better off. If every single ounce of effort and and thing that I used on Twitter, I instead spent on TikTok, I would be 1,000 times better off. It's not even close. It is a worthless website, and it doesn't matter. And by the way, chat, going back to my initial analysis, look what happened. By Abdul responding, now we have this. Everything I said would happen has now happened. Every newsroom. Abdul El Sayed disses himself from Hassan Piker's comments on American Jews. Abdul El Sayed disses himself from the left-wing influencer after comments about American Jews. Hassan Piker's rhetoric becomes issue for Democrats.
Now to a growing issue for some Democratic Party candidates in November. Some candidates are denouncing recent words by the progressive activist Hassan Piker. The popular streamer has repeatedly criticized Israel for its war on Gaza. His rhetoric has become an issue for the Democratic Senate candidate in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed, who is now trying to back away from Piker. Ed O'Keefe is covering the midterm elections for us. Ed, good morning.
Glad, good to see you. Hasan Piker may not be a name that many of our viewers know, but his influence has only increased in recent months as he's been campaigning with progressive or socialist candidates across the country. But he rocked the boat in recent days by making comments that both Democrats and Republicans call anti-Semitic. And El-Sayed has also denounced the comments, saying he stands with the Jewish community.
People don't with Israel any longer.
Progressive influencer Hasan Piker has sent the Democratic Party into damage control.
People don't fuck with Israel any longer. Oh, okay. And?
Making incendiary comments during a live stream on Twitch last Thursday, arguing the idea that Jews are monolithic is, quote, a very dangerous mode of propaganda.
What's controversial about that statement?
If Jews in America keep putting this idea out there that they are singularly invested.
Okay, can here's what I'm going to say to Hasan. As somebody who had an oopsie doopsie daisy, you can't say Jews blah 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 blah. You can't say that. You're literally not allowed. That is just a incredible fuck up. And I thought he knew better than that. It's out of context. He says so much more before that. I know that. I'm just saying this is what they clipped. Let me just say this as a streamer. I don't think the content of what he said is wrong in the sense of people trying to equate Zionism with Judaism are causing the growth in anti-Semitism. That's an observable fact, right? However, the way you talk about it is by criticizing Zionists, not by criticizing Jews. Because when you criticize, just think about the way you would feel. It just doesn't work. Because then everybody's like, oh my God, you're saying things about Jews? That's anti-Semitic. It's bound to happen when you riff for hours and hours. Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm just saying, in general, know what people are going to clip. And this is one of those things.
In Israel, eventually someone's going to come around and take action, not against the state of Israel, mind you, but against American Jews.
Republicans quickly pointed to Piker's ties to Abdul El-Sayed, the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate in Michigan. El-Sayed had
literally no one cares. Like, can I just say that the clip they're playing, no one would ever be offended by that unless they're primed to believe they should be offended. And the ways that you get primed to be offended is by Abdul acting as if it's offensive and by reacting. All Abdul should have said is, he's a Twitch streamer. Stop talking about a Twitch streamer. Start talking about Michigan policies, X, Y, and Z. Shut the fuck up. And then make an anti-media argument. Stop playing the game. Everyone hates the mainstream media. Attack the mainstream media when they ask you a dumb question. Say, that's a dumb question. Let's talk about healthcare. I'm a PhD. I'm a medical doctor, PhD in public policy, and you're asking me about a Twitch streamer. Grow up. This is why nobody listens to you guys anymore. That's what you say.
The left-wing podcaster during his primary campaign in hopes of winning over Piker's more than 8 million social media followers.
But when he says things like he didn't have an issue with Hezbollah, that resonates more in this state than in many others.
Yeah, well, look, those are things that he and I are going to disagree on. But again, the idea that somehow I'm going to hold myself accountable to the worst thing he said and then not reach out to his audience, no.
But El-Sayed has repeatedly denounced anti-Semitism and said again in a statement Monday, his, quote, commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own daughters. Other Democrats were more direct. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called Piker's comments dangerous and anti-Semitic. And Michigan's Democratic Congresswoman Hillary Scholten dismissed the streamer as, quote, a hack who thrives on hate. Progressives like Piker and El-Sayed are outspoken critics of Israel's handling of the war in Gaza, a divisive issue for the Democratic Party ahead of the midterms.
I think the thing that Hasan Piker kind of forces on the people who he, supports, campaigns with, he forces them, I think, to clarify what do you agree with and what do you not agree with.
Piker says the response to his comments is a, quote, Republican smear campaign. Mike Rogers, who's the Republican running against El-Sayed in Michigan, criticized the Democrats' decision to distance himself from Piker and called El-Sayed a, quote, con man. Gail?
A lot of people watching. Thank you, Ed, very much.
Far-left Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed is trying to distance himself from a controversial Twitch streamer Hasan Piker ahead of the midterms, releasing this statement on X. Quote,
Anti-Semitism is a scourge, and we need to address it in all its forms. And I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. And while politicians and pundits try to make this race about a Twitch streamer, we're going to be talking about gas, groceries, good schools, and health care.
Joining us now to react is senior writer for the Washington Examiner and Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, I'm interested to see your thoughts on this.
I think, again, overall, here's the reality. We are very powerful. Abdul won the primary because of Hassan. Let's not be confused here. Abdul is the nominee because of Hassan. Everybody knows it. Nobody is confused about that. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to make that victory a failure. And again, it's actually not going to work. Nobody is going to be like, I was going to vote for that guy, but then there was a Twitch streamer, Hassan Piker. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. It's not going to work. Like, and honestly, and this is the truth nuke that I think a lot of people need to understand, is that Hassan and I, in particular, and people like us, we are the final bulwark against the growth of anti-Semitism in this country. We are fighting against anti-Semitism harder than almost any other group. Even though Hassan and I are regularly called anti-Semites, we are a bulwark against the massive growth of anti-Semitism in this country. I'm fighting against it, even though I am called anti-Semitic. I'm out there fighting tooth and nail against anti-Semitism. No one actually believes I'm anti-Semitic. No one actually believes Hassan Piker is anti-Semitic. They are lying through their teeth. And the reason why they're lying is because they understand a lot of, or they believe, dangerously they believe, that anti-Semitism is beyond the pale. Right? That is an incorrect opinion now, unfortunately. The thing about me that's different than a lot of other streamers is I leave my apartment. I talk to regular people. Actually, you should ask Vio what it's like to be around me with normies. Ask Vio about the Teamster incident. Ask Vio about I activate people in such a positive way. It's crazy. We were we had a delivery driver come up to us, and I started chatting with him. And by the end, 30 seconds later, he had his fist in the air and he's like, "We're fighting the man. We're fucking fighting the man." And I was like, it was amazing. Ask Vio about this incident. That happened a couple days ago. What I'm trying to say is the radical nature of normie politics is crazy. And I think we are in a French Revolution era moment, like where as much as I hate the ultras, they might be cooking a little bit about how willing people are to go after the elite. They may actually be right about that. I tend to doubt it because I haven't seen it yet, but under the right conditions, I think it is available. And I got to tell you, Hassan really needs to think about what he says, things like that. He made the argument in literally the worst way possible. He made Rott sound like he was going to go after American Jews, made it clear that people like Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson are going after Jewish people because they are next in line for power. I think the thing is, in the full context, he did. But here's the reality, guys. It's impossible to be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. You just need to learn that clip culture is bullshit. You should understand that clip culture is bullshit. And there's a reason why I have full solidarity for Hassan. When I got accused of anti-Semitism, what did Hassan do? He threw cold water on it. Noah Sanson threw cold water on it. And they were like, yeah, Mike's not anti-Semitic. The clip is bad, but I know that's not Mike. It's the same thing about Hassan, the other way around. The clip is bad, but I know he doesn't. It's out of context, and give the context. Meanwhile, this is how Mike Rogers speaks about Islamic people.
El Said wants to represent Palestine. I want to represent Michigan. Abdul believes the government is the... I believe Michigander. El Said wants to represent Palestine. I want to represent Michigan.
And what I need you to understand, chat, is yesterday, YouGov, one of the world's most prestigious polling companies, published a poll they announced on Hassan Piker's stream. Good timing.
Good morning. And defending the far left wish list, Democratic Senate nominee Abdul El Sayed, he was on Jesse Waters last night and how he defended his push to bring very socialist policies to Michigan. Good morning. I'm Dana Perino. Bill Hemmer is off today. Great to have you with me.
Great to be with you as always. That was quite the interview last night.
It was.
Driving a lot of headlines today. I'm Bill Malugin. This is America's Newsroom. El Sayed is
we might have to bring you. I'm forming a group of people that I would like to create some of the graphics and the info. Like, we need to make our own Data Bros group.
Medicare for all, abolishing ICE, and taxing the wealthy. Jesse Waters pressed him on all of that and a whole lot more last night. Here's how it went.
You want to abolish ICE? Who's going to deport the criminal aliens from the country?
Well, you and I both know that long before we ever had ICE, we had INS.
And that's a dodge, Abdul. They did the same thing as ICE back then, INS. Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country now?
People in the face and the back of the head.
Do you know how many illegal aliens are in the country now?
We had... No, I mean, to your point, Jesse, let me just answer the question. To your point,
how many do we have?
Far fewer when we had INS. To your answer, we had
exactly.
far fewer when we had INS. So arguably, INS worked a lot better.
Abdul, listen, we had twice as many illegals now when we had INS.
So to your argument,
you have to have the manpower to do it.
If you want to do that correlation, we have ICE now, and we have far more undocumented people. So ICE is clearly not working. Billionaires don't make their money off of their labor. That, I think, is where you head off. Billionaires that make their money off their money. So if you have $1 billion, your billion makes another 100 million. That's not the fruits of your labor. That's just the fruits of your money making money. I think it's okay. Like, if we tax you at 7%, you're still going to make, what, a cool $30 million off your $1 billion? I think it's okay. I think more people are more worried about whether or not they can see a doctor than whether or not they can have a gun. I'm just going to put that out there.
Reparations. Do you support that?
I think we need to have an honest conversation about the incredible debt that was put upon black folks as a function of slavery that we have yet to pay. And I just think that's fair.
Meanwhile, El Sayed is under growing pressure to distance himself from Hassan Piker. He has repeatedly campaigned with him ahead of the primary. This after the far-left streamer suggested American Jews who back Israel are inviting violence on themselves.
Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram is following all of this for us. He joins us live on Capitol Hill this morning. Hi, Chad.
Bill, good morning. It was a striking interview as Abdul El Sayed veered off into a conversation about circumcision and even private parts. This came when he was asked about sex changes and men competing in women's sport.
You disagree that healthcare decisions need to be made by a doctor and their parents and a patient, then we think we agree to disagree. But, you want to put government inside
So, Abdul, you're a doctor, right?
El Sayed is advocating Medicare for all. He also touted reparations for slavery. Both ideas would cost...
First of all, he didn't even tout reparations. He just said we should have a conversation about paying the debt our society owes for slavery. He didn't even say reparations. Now they're just lying.
Taxpayers trillions of dollars. El Sayed also tried to equate canon law from the Catholic Church with Sharia law in Islam.
They're the same thing. You have religious laws for the governance of your religion. It's the same thing. It's optional. It's funny to be fired up about that because the Catholic Church actually did govern territory as the government in the papal states. They had a lot of territories all around Europe, which were called bishoprics, where the church would literally be the government as well. All over France, all over Germany, all over Spain, all over Italy, all over I think even the Brits had some. This has happened before. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, the Catholic Church actually did have governmental authority. I mean, we still have the papal state, Vatican City, in Rome. Like, what are we even talking about? It's directly on point. And that's leaving aside all the fucking Catholic theocracies. For example, the Teutonic Knights or other, or the Knights of Rhodes or whatever the fuck, who literally were Catholic theocracies. This is like a very common, and they lasted a really long time in our history. The last, 1865, or was it 1866, is when the Catholic Church lost Rome. So what are we even talking about? Like, this is not like ancient history, man.
Canon law is. So canon law is the name for Christian law. Nobody is trying to push Sharia law on anyone else, just like I hope nobody is trying to push canon law on anybody else.
Republicans will highlight
that's true
of what El Sayed said as part of their effort to show that Democrats are too extreme.
This is the most dangerous, radical, and frankly, weird group of candidates I've ever seen in my lifetime. These radicals don't just want new policies. They want to change the very DNA of what it means to be an American. They're coming after our culture, Sean, and that is what makes them dangerous.
Michigan is a key state for Democrats. They need to hold it if they hope to flip the Senate. But there's now concern that extreme views like those of El Sayed could scare mainstream voters who Democrats are trying to court. Bill?
Chad Pergram live on Capitol Hill this morning. Chad, thank you.
And former Bernie Sanders campaign manager Faz Shakir and former NRSC senior advisor Matt Whitlock. Great to have you here. Let's talk about the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Do you think that they got some ammo for the Rogers campaign from the interview that El Sayed did with Jesse last night?
I do think so. I think that they are popping bottles at the NRSC and at the Rogers campaign offices. As a Republican strategist, I am so grateful that Abdul El-Sayed took time out of his busy schedule of rage tweeting about things like Usha Vance and testosterone to create more tape for us. I, for one, had no idea he would defend windmills on Lake Michigan, trans surgeries for minors, reparations, a laundry list of issues that open the door to a whole new line of attacks for Republicans between now and November.
One of the things about like conservative or right-wing politics in general is they don't really talk about much, because that's the whole point. If you have any idea at all, that idea is going to be attacked. And then if you don't have any ideas, if you're a typical Democrat, they'll just make shit up.
Incredibly valuable for us.
And Faz, obviously in a general election, El Sayed and Rogers, they need to find some independent voters who will vote for them. Do you think El Sayed did that last night in front of Jesse's large audience?
Yes, thanks to Fox News for hosting the conversation and allowing, an honest discussion to happen. I mean, too often we reside in our camps and aren't talking to each other. And I thought both Jesse and Abdul.
I gotta be honest with you, chat. This kind of performative shit, don't waste your time with it. Don't waste your time with it. You're on Fox News. Stop it. Make your point. Put them on the defense. Stop with this.
We're willing to just talk about issues that we often don't see in the American public. And in that, you have a discourse of Medicare for all. You have a discourse of taxing the rich, a concern of a corrupt economic system that I think people can start to wrestle with. You may disagree with Abdul on many things, but you're going to find somebody who's operating with an integrity, have a vision that working class people should thrive in this society. And there's some major changes that need to happen in order for that to occur.
One of the big moments was when Jesse asked about trans surgeries for kids, and Abdul fired back with, well, are you circumcised? As if circumcision and castration are the same thing, Matt. And while people might want to talk about the economy, indeed, I mean, obviously, that is something that's going to get a lot of buzz. It's going to be out there. Did Sayed swing and miss on that answer?
He absolutely did. I actually scrolled around sort of lefty Twitter this morning before coming on, and I was amazed to see how many liberals were either cringing or saying downright, that's not the right answer there. Because one, as a doctor, you'd hope he knows the difference between circumcision and permanent sex change operations. But
I think most people would understand that circumcision is a unnecessary optional surgery that's practiced on men as a matter of parental authority. That's what it is. That's the justification for it.
There really was something for everyone last night. There was the extreme
or baby
answers
boys
on things like that and allowing men and women's sports, but also on the economic issues. He had no idea how much his Medicare for All plan would cost. He has no idea about the fact that he would be limiting your own ability to choose your health care plan with a number of his defenses last night. So
Guys, how many of us love picking our health care plan? These type of arguments are actually awesome, because this is where we're forcing them to try to talk about policy. They like health insurance companies. The trans shit has no motion. Nobody gives a shit. This is all you need to say. These guys are talking about trans kids because they're perverts and they want to force every girl in sports to have her genital inspected. The Republican governor of Utah vetoed a bill banning trans participation in sports because when he looked into it, there were 4 trans kids in all of Utah playing high school sports, and only one of them was a trans girl. So you're having all these conversations about basically a population that you can count on one hand. It is made up to distract you from the fact that grocery prices are up, gas prices are up, we're in a dumb war in Iran, the health insurance companies' profits are higher than ever, and Americans can't make ends meet. I have a plan to work on all those issues. They love the status quo. Stop being distracted by bullshit. That's the answer.
Think it was an all-around mess. I failed to see anything positive that he got out of that.
Before I turn to Hassan Piker, I want to get to that next, but is there anything that you, Faz, would recommend Syed try to do to pivot and talk to the independents that he's going to need?
He was on a great course on the taxing the rich, and they had a good conversation about if you have $1 billion, have you really earned billions of dollars? Money is making more money. Shouldn't we be able to tax that? For many people out there, they don't even know what a billion is. If you had 1 billion seconds, it would be 32 years. 1 million seconds is 12 days. 32 years versus 12 days. So we have extreme wealth in this country, and we got to think about a tax code that gives them tax avoidance, lets them off the hook. That's really important to society if we're going to maintain working class people being able to do well in this country.
Okay. Well, it's going to be the race to watch, I think, on the Senate side going forward. Now, let's get to this, because also same Senate race, but a larger issue. Hassan Piker over the weekend, or last Thursday, talking about Jews who support Israel. Watch.
People don't Israel any longer, and if Jews in America keep putting this idea out there that they are singularly invested in Israel, eventually someone's going to come around and take action, not against the state of Israel, mind you, but against American Jews.
El Sayed said on X, "I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople." But Hassan Piker was certainly somebody that helped El Sayed in the primary, and they are somewhat yoked. And I'm sure the NRSC and others, the Rogers campaign, will try to make that a thing. Whitlock?
It's interesting how Abdul is trying to distance himself a little bit by dismissing him as a Twitch streamer. He's the Twitch streamer that you were campaigning with on election night in your primary. He's been in the room with you for about every decision that you've made, and these comments are only getting worse. Singing about the death of Charlie Kirk, horrific comments about Jewish people in America, saying America...
Again, horrific is saying that equating Zionism with Judaism is bad for American Jews. That's supposedly horrible? Like, what are you talking about? That is the right of every American Jewish person to have their own opinion on Israel and not have it assumed to be pro-Israel just because they're Jewish. That's anti-Semitism.
Deserve 9/11. Condemning black voters, these are things that Abdul needs to unequivocally condemn, and he's not going to be able to do that and distance himself from it by simply trying to sort of navigate and dance around it and suggest he's just a Twitch streamer. He campaigned with him.
And you see that picture there, Faz. I just want to read to you from Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, saying that the malicious claim that American Jews are inviting violence against themselves is dangerous and anti-Semitic. There is zero justification for threats against the safety of our Jewish brothers and sisters at a moment of rising hate. We will fight the cancer of anti-Semitism with the fierce urgency of now.
Well,
what do you think should happen on this front?
You know, the cancel culture is a little bit out of control here. We're seeing everybody want to say, hey, in a free society, we can't let certain people talk. I'm old enough to remember, you remember Donald Trump's campaign. Nick Fuentes doesn't speak for me, and he didn't speak for him. There's a person who's online who happens to have a view. Jake Lang, he's out there doing all these horrific things. Does he speak for the president? No, he doesn't. There are people who are loving the attention. I'm sure Hassan Piker has gained hundreds of thousands of views because Fox News is allowing him to get more attention, but he isn't on the ballot. Abdul speaks for Abdul, Donald Trump speaks for Donald Trump, and in a free society, we allow a discourse to occur without telling them they're canceled.
I think it's different. I hear your point, but I definitely think that there is a difference. And
by the way, look at that. Even Fox News is like, yeah, it's true. Nick Fuentes doesn't speak for Donald Trump. And there you go. There you have it. It's you just go on the offense and be like, listen, everybody speaks for themselves. Stop. Like, this is baby shit. Like, this is baby shit. Nobody cares about this. They really don't. Unless you can show me evidence. And I haven't seen any. I mean, even the anti-Hassan tweets, they're not even doing that well. Like, I feel like a lot of this is who is saying it as opposed to how well it's going. It's really just a kind of an explanation of how much the establishment hates the left. That's all that's being explained. We're not actually seeing this go get any distance. Like, and when I talk about it, like, The exact same people who for years complained that Hassan was not enthusiastically campaigning for and endorsing Kamala Harris cost her the 2024 election are now saying that his support for candidates is bad for the general. These are contradictory claims. Seems like lies. Like they're yelling at Hassan. Hassan should have endorsed Kamala. She would have won if not for Hassan and Mike from PA and the left. But now Hassan is supporting a Democrat and a general. And now they're saying by getting Hassan's support, that's bad for the candidate. Which is it? That doesn't make sense. Hyperventilating over a Twitch streamer who is one of the best independent organizers for the left of the country will have the net effect of making him more powerful in the coming years. People hate you, establishment scum, and seeing you aid MAGA is the nail in your coffin. Again, let's go take a look at the Near Tandon tweet. 1,000 likes, 300 replies, getting absolutely dunked on in the fucking quote tweets. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. This has absolutely, and I mean it, no emotion. Half these likes are probably Republicans or bots. This shit is not making, look at Andrew Cuomo, 2,000 likes, 700, like nobody fucking cares. Like this has absolutely no motion. My reply to this was, you can see who the agents of a foreign power, you can see who the agents of the foreign power there are. I mangled it. In our politics and government, when they intentionally and in a coordinated manner repeat the same talking points and lies. We need a 21st century update to the Foreign Agent Registration Act with increased penalties. Personally, I mean, I'll be honest with you, chat. I want to build a new prison for FARA agent violators. Although I would call it the IAR Act, the Israeli Agent Registration Act. Like let's just be honest. The left should be clear. Our intentions are to end support for Zionism in this country. Genocide is the ultimate crime. Justice will be done. The country should be aware we have such plans. I personally feel like Zionism should be as unacceptable to have as supporting ISIS, as supporting Nazism, as supporting all these far-right ideologies that are criminal. More people are being murdered by Israel every day than almost any other far-right ideology. That's the reality. It is a unacceptable position. And liberal Zionism or binational a binational Israel, those the idea of a two-state solution, those have been destroyed by the government in power in Israel. And even the so-called Centrist party doesn't believe in a two-state solution. So when you say two-state solution, that is in opposition to 85% of the Israeli population. They are a genocidal apartheid society now. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's what the data shows. Like, look at this shit. I mean, mostly it's people attacking these people. 1,000 likes, 900 likes. Like, again, the establishment Democrats are not even getting motion on Twitter. Even the conservative posts are not getting any motion. Nobody gives a shit. It's not working. Semaphore is actually garbage, by the way. And Dave Weigel cannot be trusted. I used to like Semaphore, but there's something going on. I don't know. Is Dave a Zionist? It kind of like, he seems like he was very pro-left, but I'm pretty sure he is. Like, I think he kind of strikes me as a Zionist, to be honest with you. All right. So as I said, everything I predicted to happen would happen. As Abdul should not have said anything about Hassan Piker. He should have said, shut the fuck up about a Twitch streamer. Start talking about the gas prices. That's the only thing he should say. Shut the fuck up. And in fact, he should go on the offense. Bring up shit that Rogers is doing. Like, what are you doing, man? This is basic politics. He got Me Too'd several years ago. Oh, did he? That explains so much. That explains so fucking much. What was the Dave Weigel Me Too link? Please tell me all the background. I didn't know about that. It's also kind of shitty because Assad did a lot for Abdul's campaign. He really, truly believed it. He does believe in it. There's nothing has changed. Abdul is just trying to survive a general election in a swing state. We all understand that you've got to play the game. All right? Like, it is what it is. I just think it legitimately is bad for you to be seen like you are, feel like you're taking a wound. I'm kind of surprised that people are. It was a tweet from YouTuber Cam Hairless who joked, "Every girl is bi. You just have to figure out if it's polar or sexual." I mean, I think that joke kind of sucks, to be honest with you. And it is misogynistic. Like, legitimately, for a professional reporter, that is a pretty embarrassing bad joke. It's not even a funny one. That is legitimately a fucking boomer joke. All women are either bisexual or bipolar, guys. Get it? They're either sluts or they're mentally ill. I mean, I think that's a pretty embarrassing joke for a reporter to retweet, to be honest with you. All right. Anyway, they mentioned they love talk. I'm in everybody's mind right now. Okay. Submission 3. Hold on. Before we go on.
I have the same, I just like black pants, white shirt, and that's about it. I have the same clothes in my closet.
It works.
It's easy. Let's see our next room.
What the fuck? Do you have conservative viewers?
I don't know what's going on.
No, that's not a conservative viewer. That's not a conservative viewer at all.
What?
The fuck around and find out? Is this not like
no? This is a commie. This is a commie LARPer.
Wait, well, what is making you say that, Hassan?
Well, let's just keep exploring. But I don't think this is I don't think it's a conservative one, because the conservative Gadsden flag would not be red and black. It would be.
I feel like I see
yellow.
I feel like I see ammunition.
A conservative to like dramatically alter the
also, I think I see like mold on the wall and popcorn ceilings. I am now even more offended that Austin said it was me.
Classic Gadsden flag, right?
What the fuck?
Sure.
I don't know enough, but I'll tell you also, I'm focused on the scrunchie. You see the scrunchie next to the right of the crush on the bottom right hand? This means that they definitely have long hair. Yeah, and the zero sugar crush.
This is a man. This is a man with long hair.
Yeah, 100%.
I think cis man, or maybe crazy like mask Les.
No.
Okay, Blue Yeti wants to stream Theragun, the shittier version of the Theragun.
These mics are horrible. I hate these mics.
Yeah. What is that federal, like, what is that? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's ammo.
The packet.
Is that like bullets?
That's what bullets come in. That's a bullet case. For
Yeah,
sure.
right? It's
725 up here.
Yeah, no, it's bullets.
So they're definitely a man. I mean, women can shoot guns, but just typically.
No, this is a Socialist Rifle Association guy, 100% like Antifa LARPer. Abso-fucking-lutely. I bet my life on it. Okay.
I don't really know as much as you do about like the intra-left micro community LARPer shit.
Because FAFO is such a conservative thing to say.
Yeah,
fuck around and find out.
I'm telling you, I think this is a like hardcore left. Like Karl Marx said, we have to, the proletariat must be well armed and dangerous. Possibly previous conservative turned, there's a bunch of these guys in my community. I want to see that dark stain in the corner real quick. Is that like an electrical fire? What happened back there?
I think it is. Or it's black mold.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's the air purifier right in front of it. This is a straight male solution to having mold in the house. I'm going to put the air purifier as close as I can to the black mold, and hopefully that solves it.
Yeah. Can we look at the clothing? Yeah. If there's
corduroy
anything...
jeans. What's on the mouse pad? Actually, is that a character either of you are familiar with? Is that like a Sith Lord or something?
I think this is a Inquisitor, right, chat? I think this is an Inquisitor. No, it's Kodor. It's Darth Malgus. Oh, I mean, it could be. We need more images. Chat, what do we think? Do we think it's Darth Malgus? Could be.
The Star Wars.
This person feels older. Like I'm picturing like Mike from PA. You may not know this person.
I was a lot less offended until I saw the full room. I was a lot less offended. However, I do have ammo. It is true. I would not allow black mold on my wall though. And I would not have popcorn ceilings. That's a bit too much, okay?
And like but the scrunchie, the cat, it's like, the zero sugar crush. I don't know. I think maybe they're a little older and straight because, straight men do discover mechanisms as they get older to
incorrect mouse pad.
Consume as many calories.
Well, this is former fat kid behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, me. Yeah. Clocked it.
He's drinking 30 of these a day. Maybe
this is the mouse pad. No, that's not the mouse pad.
builder at this point. There's the
don't
fat
think.
kid to like muscle
Maybe.
pipeline that I think
it might be.
fits with this kind of general vibe.
We'd have more protein on the desk, I feel like, if he was a bodybuilder.
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Speaking of what's on the desk, that's a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
So those were bullets. He's drinking beer as well. These are like Modelo lids.
Is that marijuana?
Those are just beer bottle tops. That doesn't have to be Modelo. Zoomers, bro.
Smoking blunts. He's drinking. He's streaming. He's calling Hassan a Demsoch cuck on his Twitch stream. Let's see what else he gave us.
Okay.
Bed.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, disaster.
Jesus Christ.
Leak in here.
This is definitely a straight guy, I think. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. What's in the corner
Location
there?
is really hard on this one. It's a plushie of some sort. It's
like a moose.
Whatever blankets are in the house on the bed.
I hate these blankets. The micro fleece gray cum stained sweaty blanket is I mean extremely
you know his ass is sweating. He's wearing gym shorts to bed. The entire thing is just caked with sweat by the time he wakes up, because that little dusty ass fan is not cutting it. There's no mini split in this room. You know this house does not have central heating and central air. He's sweating like
It might.
Motherfucker in that bed.
The mattress is a fucking sponge at this point. You know what I mean?
Look, the off-color pillows too. This is a younger gentleman. Okay, off-color pillow, body pillow being used as a impromptu head. Like, that's awesome. That's dude. This is classic young male home solutions that I have literally done. Like everything I'm looking at right now, it's like I'm looking at a blast from the past, from my own past. I've lived in these conditions, in these exact conditions.
I mean, look at this. Another power.
The power strip. Generic bag with just random things in it.
Trader Joe's, I think.
Oh, it is. That is the Trader Joe's bag.
This is like legitimately, how do I put this? This is the male loneliness epidemic. That's how I would title this section. The male loneliness epidemic. This is like making me feel like a boomer, because I'm like, man, we are not socialized, dude. Like, don't you look up this room and realize that maybe women were right about that emotional labor shit? Like, god damn, they are 100% correct. Imagine, and this is the other point that I often make, which is being attracted to straight men is the most perverted fetish. No other type of person would consider this situation to be normal. You have to be horned out of your fucking mind to date this. You have to be like consumed by lust in order to ever want to date. This is men. This is men. No wonder I think women don't complain enough, God damn it. And this is probably one of the good ones. This is one where if a woman put in like a reclamation project and really put in the time and the effort, maybe a human could be evolved out of this sludge, right? But legitimately, this is why, oh my God, like, this is a fixer-upper, okay?
With the blue.
Anyway, this could be bisexual, young bisexual man.
I'm thinking straight, but perhaps you could definitely see this person being discreet.
Yeah. That's what
You mean doing DL trade? I mean, that's a throwaway line.
I'm saying. I mean, I've been in rooms like this.
Yeah, so they're not gonna tell us if they're gay or not, regardless.
The only indication of bisexuality, from my estimation, is how messy the room is and the cat thing, the cat tower, and how messy the room is. Then again, messy room, young male.
Well, he's a left winger. That's why he has a cat. You could tell if a man got secure masculinity based on their opinion of cats. Men that have secure masculinity don't have any problem with cats. Now, I like dogs because I am a man, and dogs are very straightforward and not emotionally complex. Dog is like, hey, you want to hang out, bro? Oh, you want to feed me? You're a cool guy. And they're very straightforward, okay? I can handle that. I'm emotionally intelligent enough for a dog, okay? But men who are like performatively anti-cat, they do so because cats are associated with femininity and they're worried about being perceived as feminine. So not like men who are really performatively anti-cat, they're struggling with a little bit of their own their own masculinity. Now, if you're allergic to an animal, that's fine. You don't, I mean, like, if you're supremely allergic to an animal, then obviously not wanting to be around them makes perfect sense. That's a health thing. It's like if somebody says, I hate seafood, versus I'm allergic to shellfish and I'll die. An adult who is just point blank saying they won't eat anything from an entire category of human agriculture or farming or cultural experience as just a general rule, that's weird. But somebody who is like not trying to die from poisoning, that's normal.
Young, straight, cis male as well.
And like, I'm sorry, but crabs are good. Lobsters are good. Shellfish is good. Sushi is good. Fuck. Fish and chips are good. You're eating bugs. No, I'm not. I'm eating crab. And if bugs tasted that fucking good, we would eat them. You are eating mercury. Are you talking about food purity in America? In the year of our Lord 2026? You can't even eat lettuce without getting the shits.
Yeah, as in younger generations, I feel like cats have become less gay to own. Like, I know a lot of straight men that have cats.
And lesbians are having pit bulls now.
Yeah, but it's more left-wing. It's more left-wing coded. Austin is hitting the nail on the head, by the way. Everybody was doubting my point of view. Liking cats or being okay with cats increases your odds of being a left-winger significantly. As a man.
Just switched up again.
Right.
I already have my answers. Like, I have everything dialed in already.
Oh
but let's see what else
Let's see
has.
what else he gave us. Another photo of the room.
Oh my god, gun case.
Oh my god, do we have a figurine? I think this is like a saxophone case or something. And this is that an Assassin's Creed figurine? A closet with no closet door, and then having a like chest of drawers that's like too big for the space. Fucking classic.
Case.
It's a rifle or something.
Yeah, gun case.
The clothes.
I don't know. This looks more like an instrument case to me.
Oh, let's see.
There's 0% chance that this person is anything but a straight male.
Well, dress.
Oh, is that a dress?
Wait a minute.
What?
What? Women live like this?
No. This could be like a girlfriend left a dress or something. I refuse to debate this.
There's no way it's a. I mean, it can't be a
I know what's going on.
If this is the like freshest egg crack that's ever happened. Or he's got the femboy. He's got the sometimes femboy. Or maybe a girlfriend that comes around once in a while. I refuse to believe
I don't
that
think it's
femininity played a part in
the
this.
gaming, the gun, the politics would all.
Okay. I don't know if I can keep slowly investigating. I need to know. I guess it's only a couple more minutes.
If this is a woman's room, she's a trans woman, but there's no way a trans woman would keep all of the men's clothes and then have 3 dresses. It's maybe girlfriend's clothes.
Or what's the proper term for it? I don't know, but like
egg.
Yeah, egg. Yeah. Is that?
I don't think it's an egg.
No. This could. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
No,
yeah,
I don't think it's an egg.
I'm beginning to visualize something here.
But
for me, it would be more likely to be like transvestite, aka femboy, aka sexual, like, you know, dressing in feminine clothes for a sexual manner. So as opposed to, you know what I mean? I guess we don't say transvestite anymore. Is transvestite, aka, you know, femboy? Is that not allowed? Is that a bad term now? Because is that a bad term? Oh, okay. Well, sorry about that. I didn't know that. I think it's only bad if you're like, okay, it's considered outdated now. All right. That makes sense. Well, I apologize. I didn't know that. I guess people just say cross-dresser now. But I think it's because when people would say that, it's because they were trying to downplay transness. This is me being a boomer. I think it got used against trans people and not. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Fair enough. You could bust it out for the occasional Rocky Horror production. Probably best not to. There are some people who identify their way and there's no shame, but that's usually inaccurate. Yeah. Like, it's like femboy, right? Like a femboy is somebody who identifies as a male, but occasionally they will dress in a hyper feminine manner. Right? That oftentimes for like sexual gratification. That is different than having a trans identity. At least, unless, again, you want to feel free to correct me on any of this. I feel like I'm in learning mode. Transphobic sex workers use transvestite. Often it's bigotry held by mostly old school porn actors that hate how the industry has changed. Ah, okay. Isn't that drag? Drag is an art form. You are gay because you have long hair. Unironically, having long hair as a man is violating gender norms in America anyway. Now, I think people care less. I think the taboo has certainly been broken. But 25 years ago, having long hair would definitely be considered to be like, if not gay, not manly. Really, it was the hair bands of the 80s that really started like bringing it back. And again, they were androgynous. A lot of the metal bands, the hair bands were androgynous in their presentation intentionally. Gender, isn't it fun?
He's not gonna, or she is not gonna come out on the show unless this is the way they want to come out. If they're just trying on the dresses,
Or they could have a girlfriend.
and maybe the scrunchie is the girls.
It wouldn't be on the desk. Wouldn't be
Not
on
in the
desk.
gamer desk.
I also don't see him being the type of guy to have a girlfriend.
You see the
like
cat
that.
carrier at the top there with just stuffed with other shit? Shoe boxes.
I'm kind of thinking it's more likely that this is,
that
a guy
It's
who has a
Assassin's Creed.
girlfriend than it's a trans woman. Wait, this is Assassin's Creed? Oh, Florida. JLHCA Florida.
Yes, we know it's Florida. It has the fuck around and find out alligator flag. I'm telling you, I clocked it from
Florida.
I clocked that shit from a mile away.
What's
That's
HCA Florida? We allowed to look that up?
No, don't cheat.
Look it up and share it. You can look stuff up if you share your findings.
Hialeah County Association.
He's Cuban.
HCA Florida St. Lucie Hospital.
Hospital bill.
So they work in healthcare, maybe?
Male nurse, healthcare assistant. He's getting
In
a
Florida.
certificate?
Yeah.
Huh. Another box of bullets.
I was wrong when I said I think this person's trans.
I am not. I am confused. I could either go cis man or like trans woman who
what is
just
BioGel?
came out or is thinking about coming out.
Yes.
BioFreeze.
BioFreeze. What is that?
It's like for
It's for muscle soreness.
Okay, so like, are we saying trans female to male?
Not the lotion by the bed. Not the lotion by the bed.
Oh,
trans woman is
trans woman.
one of the genders on the table for me right now, but I'm taking it back with the BioFreeze stuff. I think, and then this is the gun thing.
Yeah.
Are trans people living in Florida like that? And
yeah, with guns? I don't think so.
I think they.
I think they are. I think if you're a trans person in Florida, you are strapped up.
They might be like boy moding a lot, especially nowadays.
So trans man.
No, trans woman.
No, trans woman. You're such a fucking boomer, Austin. Jesus Christ.
Which way did she go? No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The one thing there is I'm like, would they, by submitting to the show, they're effectively kind of outing themselves in some way. But if they're privately trans, publicly boy moding, then it's possible. It's possible. I'm
There's
seeing
also
kind of
not enough. But that's what. Okay.
All right. Let's take a look at the guesses, and then we'll move on to some actual news. I promise.
Dresses are throwing me off, but it could be like maybe a family heirloom of some sort. Maybe they.
All right, I'm guessing. I think that they're. I think 27. I think sexuality is pan. Location Tampa. Gender. Oh, man. I feel like based on the size of the chair, like how low it is in the desk, I feel like this is at I just what? Oh, we didn't see the fridge. Okay, I got to check the fridge before I make my final call.
I need to know where to follow this fork in the road.
There's gonna be HRT in the fridge.
Okay. We've got a vial. We have a vial. We have a vial. All right. I now believe trans man. I now believe trans man. I think it's actually the opposite. I think it is somebody who is assigned female at birth, transitioning to man. AFAB man, 27 years old, pansexual, lock it in. I think this is test. Trans men do not typically wear slips. I think they are from the old life and they haven't thrown them out yet. Maybe they have some sort of sentimental value. I'm not going to judge. I don't think a single stitch of clothing. I'm locking it in. I'm locking it in. Also, this is the reason why I say trans man is because the fridge. This is not a trans woman fridge. This is a trans man's fridge. Mike, unlock. It's diabetic. Well, we're guessing. We're going to the end. I guess we'll see. System of a Down is my favorite band. I'm locking in trans man.
Except for gender.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Let's just do it then. I have to go first this time. Hassan, as much as I see your
dress conservative, only thing is there's too many. You guys had these type of viewers.
Oh, 22 cis male straight Fort Myers. Okay, not that far from Tampa. And what's the are they saying trans woman?
Right, I think.
Okay. Let's see.
Holy fuck, we were way the fuck off.
Branson, cis male
Holy
straight,
shit.
Fort Myers, Florida.
Oh fuck! This is where my boyfriend's from. This area of Florida. I could have.
Oh, so it's just a dude. But he had a girlfriend. It's just a girlfriend. The girlfriend laid strategic traps for us, and it was test. Or it was just diabetes or something. And he did have long hair, though. All right. I don't want to see some guy's room. Just like me. All right. Let's get on. Let's get to the... You guys should have warned me it was just some guy. Never would have spent a half an hour on it. Son of a bitch.
Take a look at this.
I only watched it because I was mentioned. And you know what? That makes sense. I am a dude. I am unfortunately a fucking dude. Because being a fucking dude is awesome. It is legitimately cool. It does rock. It does rock to be a dude. Unfortunately, yeah. We're the oppressors, bro. It's like some guy saying in 1870, I like being British. It's like, oh no, man. Come on. It's like, I just really like jellied eels, you know? What do you want me to say? It's kind of chill. Have I talked about Gary, Indiana's loss of electrical power? I have not. Is it still off? What the fuck? What? Remember how, like, I don't remember who said it, but it stuck with me, which was the way that people experienced the fall of the Roman Empire was a bridge fell down and nobody came to fix it. That's how people experienced the empire falling. All right, before we go on, I wanted to show you the hellscape that is coming for us all if we don't immediately seize power.
Take a look at this. Orange flames, smoky skies, and intense heat are blanketing the Reno, Nevada area this morning. The Hawk fire has exploded in size, burning more than 15,000 acres. It is just 27% contained. At least 23,000 people are still under evacuation orders. CBS News correspondent Jason Allen has been covering this. He's in Reno following the flames. Jason, good morning. What are you seeing out there today?
Hey, good morning, Errol. Well, neighborhoods like this one back here, this is still the evacuate now zone. People who live back here have been out of their homes for 3 straight nights here. But it's because there have already been, officials tell us, 38 homes that have been damaged or destroyed by this fire. And there are fire crews here from as far away as Australia, New Zealand, and 15 states that are working on stopping this fire.
Gusting winds are driving the Hawk fire through dry brush and deeper into hillsides north of Reno. Dozens of homes and cars were burned.
My God, the property's burning down. Bye-bye, boat.
Jason Davis recorded flames closing in while escaping his home on Peavine Peak over the weekend. Police went door to door, evacuating residents as more than 900 first responders fight the fire from the air and on the ground. As crews work to hold the fire back, those forced out can only wait.
So what do you have at the house right now that you want to get back to?
My animals, because I have automatic feeders in there, the power's out, and they have no food or water. I was in Northern California for my daughter's wedding. Got the news Saturday night after reception. Okay, well, I'll get down there as fast as I can.
There's Lily. Greg Alston grabbed clothes, medicine, and his dogs, then spent 2 days waiting for roadblocks to lift.
Where have you stayed? Right here in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Sleeping in the truck?
Yeah.
Whoa! The Hawk Fire is the fourth to burn around Reno since July, and one of more than 80 large wildfires burning, impacting Americans right now across the country. As the fire closed in on Matthew Gillespie's house, his family rushed home to try to save anything they could.
We basically lost everything.
How much were they able to get out of the house before?
Nothing. I had a gem faceting studio and a glass blowing shop, and it's all gone. Sorry.
Copy.
Yeah, and for thousands of people like him, the next big challenge is going to come again today, this afternoon. We'll have winds that'll gust again in the late afternoon hours, 25, 35 miles per hour, maybe 40 in some wind-prone location. That combined with temperatures back to 90 again, lower humidity, it's going to make it a challenge for firefighters again on this fire. Errol?
Yeah, at least they're making some progress there. Jason in Reno. Jason, thanks.
And the evacuation zone is growing.
Over the weekend, racing over more than 15,000 acres, destroying dozens of homes and forcing 45,000 people to evacuate. Another 40,000 told to pack and get ready to go. Mark Bordeaux, from just north of downtown Reno, evacuated his home Friday and has been living at the Bonanza Casino parking lot ever since.
How bad was it?
I could not see from my front door to the walk.
Wow.
And that was probably 20 feet. And leaving, it was bumper to bumper, and it was just total chaos.
The Hawk Fire, now known to be a human-caused fire, is being fought by 900 fire personnel attacking from the ground and from the air. The Nevada National Guard assisting with Chinook and Black Hawk helicopters. How dangerous is it?
Extremely dangerous. It is a dry season, and with that cheatgrass, that fire fuels, they ignite, they go quickly, and when you add that breeze, now you have an extremely fast-moving fire.
The sheriff telling us 7 people injured so far, including 3 first responders, from fires so hot it's melted paint right off of cars. Rapidly expanding Hawk Fire explodes.
How do you go around making major life decisions in times like these? I mean, the answer, I'll be completely honest with you. Delusional optimism. Delusional optimism. And I also feel like there's a couple things that are really annoying, but I also consider them a good sign, which is people that are so comfortable, they talk about AOC. They talk about AOC's 2023 position. And they spend all day at Twitch chats talking about AOC's 2023 position. And it's like, man, they must be comfortable. I want my child to be that comfortable, where they feel that secure, where they're like, I'm going to go around and I'm going to be talking about AOC's 2023 position. My guess is they probably, I think if I had one request I could make is if I could get a national flag on chatters, optionally. Like if a chatter says something, I wish I could like click on their name and be able to like go revealed nation of origin. That would be kind of interesting. The oops all Canadians button. No, it's not all Canadians. There's some Brits in there and a few Austrians. Pennsylvania just reported the first 2 measles deaths in the US this year, both unvaccinated. Jesus. Here's a story that I wanted to cover because if you know Mike from PA, you know that I'm a Mark Ruffalo super fan.
I can't talk to him.
And I don't know if you know this, chat, but Paramount Studios has been going after Mark Ruffalo after it was purchased by the Ellisons.
Them anymore. They're either trying to convince me that the Palestinian people are all terrorists and they all deserve to die, or in the same breath will tell me that they're actually human shields and they deserve to die because they're human shields. Okay?
These are people who were friends of yours pre-October 7th.
People who I thought were friends of mine.
And they're not anymore.
No.
That was Hollywood actor Mark Ruffalo speaking to Zateo's Mehdi Hassan last year about the impact of his pro-Palestine activism on his friendships. Ruffalo is a long-time supporter of Palestinian rights. So can you guess what he's been accused of this weekend?
Cruelty to animals.
Yeah, it could be. The story relates to the billionaire Ellison family. Of course, the top dog in the Ellison family is Larry. He's the founder of the software company Oracle and one of the world's richest men. He recently took control of US TikTok. He has financial interests in the TV channel CBS, where several editorial changes took place after it was acquired by Paramount, including making former New York Times columnist Bari Weiss its editor-in-chief. Paramount is owned by Larry's son, David. and that company is currently trying to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, this would put the Ellisons in charge of a huge media empire, which was already worrying for anyone concerned with justice for Palestinians. Larry Ellison has donated millions of dollars to the IDF, and Oracle is an organization that has declared its support for Israel openly, publicly, and repeatedly. And an interview with the company's former CEO has recently gone viral.
There's a few things that we did that I really can't talk about, to be honest, because to advance the agenda for the Israeli military. But our teams did a lot. We have some really profoundly scary technology at Oracle, and we wanted to make sure that it was available for the effort. Let's just say that. Okay?
The laughing is really cynical, isn't it? Let's just say that. We can't say exactly how we helped the Israelis, but, you know, we did. Obviously, I mean, relating to the last conversation, we just had Oracle software company, so it could easily have been sort of finding targets. That would have made a lot of sense in terms of what one would use Oracle to do. That video was shared by Mark Ruffalo, who alongside the clip said this is the company that Larry Ellison is using to fund his son David's Warner Bros. Acquisition. These really profoundly scary technologies will most likely be merged into one of the largest media conglomerates in the world and one day used on you. Look how she revels in what we now have come to see as a genocide, which was built on an apartheid system of oppression powered by Oracle. There is an old saying, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. From one of the biggest tech companies in the world, powering some of the most destructive and inhuman forces in the world. He ended by calling the Ellisons and Katz, who was the lady in the video, really profoundly scary people. That quickly earned a response from Paramount, who said this: "We are, as always, troubled when anti-Semitic tropes are invoked in purported service of a business dispute. Words like genocide and apartheid applied to a corporate transaction aren't just wrong, they're a bridge too far, and they cheapen the very real suffering those words are meant to describe. This doesn't deserve a response in kind, and to be clear, we don't tolerate prejudice of any kind against anyone." So again, this is Larry Ellison has donated millions of pounds to the IDF, as you just saw in that clip. Oracle brags about having helped the Israelis in their genocidal war against the Palestinians in Gaza, right? So this is not the connection between the Ellisons and Israel.
Oracle, Palantir, Andrill, Where's Daddy? They name these things comically evil because they're self-aware about who they are, and they worship power, and they worship dominance. Sauron is unironically less evil in his motivations than Larry Ellison. Like unironically.
And the IDF and Israeli warfighting is not one based on insinuation. It's very explicit. They're not secretive about it. All right, so, I mean, this is one of the more ridiculous sort of accusations of anti-Semitism. There are many to go around. Ruffalo wasn't having it, posting a reply to Twitter on Saturday night. So he said, "The accusation that I am anti-Semitic is appalling and fundamentally dishonest, criticizing the actions of the Israeli Prime Minister, a military technology contract, or the executives who supply it is not the same as criticizing Jewish people. This critical and necessary dialogue is then dishonestly framed as being anti-Israel. To be clear, my views come from my own political convictions and should never be interpreted as hostility towards Jewish people, for whom I have a deep love and respect. Everything I know about acting, activism, and humanism has been profoundly shaped by my Jewish friends, colleagues, and loved ones who have been integral and family throughout every point of my life." That response has been viewed 28 million times so far. It received over 800,000 likes. So Israel's still not winning sort of the social media war, even if they're weapons.
And here's the thing that's crazy. Mark Ruffalo posted that, and it got 863,000 likes. The accusation that I'm anti-Semitic is appalling and fundamentally dishonest, criticizing the action of the Israeli Prime Minister, a military technology contract, and the executives who supplied is not the same thing as criticizing Jewish people. This critical and necessary dialogue is then dishonestly framed as being anti-Israel. To be clear, my views come from my own personal convictions, my own political convictions, should never be interpreted as an act of hostility toward Jewish people for whom I have deep love and respect. Everything I know about acting, activism, and humanism has been profoundly shaped by the Jewish friends, colleagues, and loved ones who have been integral and family throughout every point of my life. This merger has real consequences for real people and for the entire country. Scrutinizing the Ellisons, including Oracle's business built on data, surveillance technology, and government contracts, and the serious threat to editorial freedom. and the loss of a livelihood for thousands of families is fair and necessary. The $111 billion deal would hand one family control over CNN, HBO, and Warner Brothers, backed in part by foreign money whose influence on editorial decisions has never been fully explained to the public. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have called for a serious national security review, and regulators still haven't given the public a real answer. Until they do, the merger should move forward. Now is the time to dive boldly into all these issues, not step back or concede. See this. This is the motherfucking Hulk. Look at what he is risking. And then see streamers with 1,000 viewers refusing to risk their career. What a fucking... And this is how it's received on places like TikTok. Just bought by the Ellisons.
Mark Ruffalo is the worst Hollywood liberal. He needs to stop calling ICE stormtroopers, is way dumber than Joe Rogan, and should stick to playing a giant rage monster. Actually, the Hulk's anger is what we need more of right now. Welcome back to part 5 of my series, Men Who Are Stepping Up to Stand Up for Others. Mark's advocacy began back in 2011 when he saw what fracking was doing to communities in Pennsylvania and New York, contaminating drinking water and poisoning families. He traveled the country speaking at anti-fracking rallies and protesting pipelines, becoming one of the most vocal environmental advocates in Hollywood. And he didn't stop there. He went on to star in Dark Waters, a film about a lawyer who exposed DuPont's decades-long poisoning of communities with PFAS, forever chemicals that build up in human blood and are linked to cancer and birth defects. And then he took it to Capitol Hill, testifying before Congress to demand regulation of these chemicals. And while his environmental advocacy is incredible, it is only the beginning. He is a regular critic of both Trump administrations, calling Trump public enemy #1, and calls out other celebrities when they act hypocritical. When Joe Rogan finally spoke out against ICE raids after spending years helping get Trump elected, Mark had something to say. It's a little late now to pretend like Project 2025 didn't exist and wasn't the playbook all along. You are either not that smart or not that dumb. It's hard to tell at this point. And speaking of ICE, when raids started terrorizing immigrant communities, and in the weeks that followed, in the wake of the murders of American citizens Renee Good and Alex Preddy, Mark Ruffalo didn't stay silent at the Golden Globe.
Waste of time and waste of money. Spend it on literally any other Senate candidate. Hulk canonically fought an Israeli supervillain who shot and cried on a Palestinian child she killed. Jesus. Everyone needs to lock the fuck in. They bought TikTok. They're trying to control HBO, CNN, CBS, all on the same family. So they could do what? Destroy the careers of anybody in media who speaks out against Israel. It's really that simple. Uh-oh. Did it happen again? Tell him to stop eating that.
Are being offered hundreds of dollars to AstroTurf opinions and narratives against me. And I know this because one of these creators actually showed me the emails. This particular ask comes from a company by the name of YTK, who have worked with a bunch of different labels and pretty prominent artists. And this right here is the offer that they made. The Strokes recently released their new album, and the song Lonely in the Future included a diss on music reviewer Anthony Fantano. Would love to get a video discussing the situation.
I thought the Strokes were left wing. What? What? Weird. Does he hate the Strokes or something? They just hate him? Huh? He loves them, but he didn't like their last album. The Strokes aren't left wing. They're all over the place. Okay, this seems like a story that's very important, but I would like to cover
Honestly,
other
at
things
this point,
right now.
Mark Ruffalo needs to make a statement that he is not suicidal, he is not considering death at any time, that he is of sane
TikTok,
mind.
why are you
Because the way
crashing
he is fighting
Firefox?
against all of these conglomerates here in the US is...
Okay, thank you. So yesterday, Hassan released an official poll with YouGov on Israel and its support. Oh, thank you, dear. Theo has brought me pasta. Is it chicken or? Bussin'. I'm not hungry. It's a little early. They crashed his computer, so he couldn't. His stream kept crashing after the poll. What? Chad, I just saw a video that almost like this has to be a joke, right? Like this is a joke post, or is it intentionally designed?
Let's talk about DSA.
What the fuck is this post? I'm sorry, I gotta. I'm sorry, I can't engage with that shit, man. I can't engage with that shit. In the 2028 Democratic primary for president, will U.S. foreign policy relations with Israel play a role in your vote? Asked of those who would vote in a Democratic primary. As you can see, foreign policy is very important for everybody except South Carolina for some reason. Even there, though, it's a majority. Probably the most conservative state in America. The graphics card leaked coolant and shorted his PC. Why the hell would she replace his GPU the day before of some big cooperative announcement? That's crazy. Why would he do that? Oh, that was months ago? Oh, it just randomly broke now? Oh, damn, that sucks. You indicated that U.S. foreign policy relations with Israel play a role in your vote. Which of the following best describes your view? U.S. should reduce support for Israel. We should maintain support for Israel at the current amount. We should increase support for Israel. Don't know. Okay. So of the Democrats who care about foreign policy, 83%, 89%, 86%, 85%, 84%, and 82% want us to cut aid to Israel. Do you believe Israel is committing a genocide against Palestinians living in Gaza? Everybody who's not insane, yes. Do you believe U.S. government should impose sanctions or penalties against Israeli government officials? 70% we should sanction Israel. So I think part of like I feel like today is a day where I just got critically hit by that clip. Man, that's an insane post to make. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's an insane post and title and thumbnail. Kind of embarrassing post. Everything that goes on in your life is shaped by politics and the state. And in America, we have the ability to influence who is in the executive and legislative positions through the process of winning elections. Now, there are some structural impediments in a capitalist society for what the state is going to be able to do. For the state itself faces a political rupture where the forces of capital attack the state itself or those that are wielding power in order to seize power themselves because of the extent at which they control the means of production and society at large. So there is a tension between what can be accomplished with the state and society as it's currently constituted through elections. Okay. That is an insight that both has a ton of value, but also no practical, strategic, or tactical value in the moment. And it's one of those things that you understand, but then if you allow it to dictate your actions in a way that is counterproductive, makes you dumber. It can become a cogno hazard if you don't understand what the fuck you're talking about, right? An example of that would be something like the war in Iran today or the genocide in Gaza, right? Why are they happening, right? There's a variety of answers for the answer of why they are happening. One of the reasons we are in a war with Iran is because Donald Trump is president of the United States. And that the president of the United States has a range of, let's say, all the possible decisions a president can make. Donald Trump is making as near to the worst possible decisions he could make of that range of possibilities, right? Say the ideal world I want to live in is way to the left of any range of possible positions a president could make. What Donald Trump is doing is making decisions that are making policies and the world worse, faster, right? I need you guys to understand something about the world around you. And I'm not trying to say this to be mean, but I need you to understand scale. And I feel like a lot of people who talk about politics don't understand scale. I'll ask you a question. If tomorrow I called you on the phone, could you stock a supermarket? Just one. If I made you responsible for all the families that go to your local supermarket and all the food and resources that come out of that supermarket, could you do it? And why I'm bringing that up is because when you argue against seizing state power in favor of some other action, the scale of the power that you are passing up on is like 100,000 to 1. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's actually underselling it. If you take the entire United States federal budget and you compare it to the annual budget of DSA and compare the two, the federal budget, I believe, is, hold on, let me just do the math real quick. Federal budget is now 6.28 trillion. Calculator, go ahead and do 628 trillion. Brilliant. And then the DSA annual budget, 5 million. Okay, let's divide that by 5 million. The federal budget is 125.6 million times bigger. 125,600,000 times bigger. Okay. So if you decide not to seize state power, you are making the decision to have a institution that is 125 million times less powerful. Now, I don't even really think you can comprehend that. Like, if you can't comprehend what I'm saying there, like if you're saying, oh, state power is not worth pursuing because it is not going to fundamentally reshape everything instantly, neither are you. And I, honest to God, don't even feel like I think I don't know how to make people understand it. It's kind of one of those things that to me is so intuitive and obvious that it's like embarrassing and uncomfortable that we even have to have this conversation, because it reflects a profound vacuousness in your interlocutors that I don't know how to take it. And like, electoral politics fundamentally transforms the world. It does. It does, because that's how we have state power determined. Now, the range of possibilities of our officials is limited, in part because they don't have cooperation from the political class, because much of the political class is captured by donor networks and the institutional structures. But we could change and bend and become a pivot point towards a much better future. There's a big difference between Russia living in Norway and living in Russia. Do you understand? I'm not trying to say that Norway is perfect. I'm not trying to say that Norway is the end state. But in American electoral politics, you could have those two possibilities are on the table. And there are a big difference between the two, including for your life. I'm like, even if electoralism just got us Norway, that was the end goal of everything we could do. Is the best we could do is be Norway today with all the problems of Norway. It would fundamentally transform the lives of hundreds of millions of people in ways that we cannot even comprehend. I'm in shock at how stupid this shit is. How much fucking grifting goes on in this space is crazy, dude. God, dude. God, the arrogance is so fucking crazy, man. Do you favor or oppose the United States selling weapons to Israel if those weapons are not paid for by the U.S. taxpayer dollars? Oppose. The vast majority of Democrats don't even want us to sell weapons to Israel. Which policy regarding U.S. weapons to Israel deliveries do you prefer? The U.S. should stop sending weapons to Israel until it stops attacking civilians in Gaza, ends its military rule over Palestinians, and allows for Palestinian freedom and self-determination. 84% of Democrats in Nevada. The U.S. should continue delivering weapons to Israel to support Israel's right to defend itself against terrorism and complete its war aims in Gaza. 5%. If you're not directly targeting FLOC and similar mechanisms of surveillance state, nothing else matters. Why is FLOC being installed? The politicians are voting to fund it. You could hack them all. All of us could go out and destroy a FLOC camera today and it wouldn't make a dent because it'll just get replaced by the state, which is 125 million times more powerful than your individual action, even collectively through all of DSA. So when we take over the government, we're increasing our power by 125 million times. The United States has a 10-year agreement with Israel to send 3.8 billion U.S. taxpayer-funded weapons every year. This agreement expires in 2027. You believe the U.S. government should renew it or let it lapse? 87% lapse in Michigan. In the next presidential primary election, would you prefer to support a candidate who supports cutting off weapons to Israel? 75% in most states. A candidate who supports providing weapons to Israel? Only 4% in South Carolina. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Should the U.S. arrest Netanyahu if he comes here? 74% in Michigan, yes. U.S. foreign policy and relations with Israel is a major issue for 34% of primary voters. Incredible. That's why if you're only calling for a ban on government weapons sales to Israel, you're giving Netanyahu exactly what he wants. Voters overwhelmingly want a full ban on Israel's ability to purchase weapons from the U.S. weapons manufacturers. Anything less is settling. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand something. You are on social media and you have absolutely no power. That is not giving Benjamin Netanyahu what he wants. Are you fucking stupid? I don't know if you were trying to be hyperbolic there to get my attention. Are you okay? Benjamin Netanyahu does not want to be cut off from hundreds of billions of dollars. They're coping. Jesus Christ, are you stupid? What are we doing? I am really hardened against the stupidity of regular people, but I let my guard down around the chat. And I shouldn't have. I want to apologize. I will treat you guys like you are regular people from now on. I am no longer going to assume that you guys know anything. I apologize. I showed vulnerability. I thought you guys were smarter. I thought after 7 years, some of it would get through. I'm not doing it anymore. I legitimately, I don't know how you live. The world must be a scary, uncertain place that makes no sense. It's insane. Someone is going to trigger you at some point. Well, it's not just that. It's just like the delusional nature of what's going on in the world. Israel is winning. Israel is winning. The Palestinian people are suffering a horrific genocide where their systems are so destroyed they can't even count the bodies, and they're not even trying anymore. There are no hospitals. There are no schools. They don't have the ability to farm any food or engage in any productive economic activity. They're living in tents. They have no sewer systems. They don't have any water. They have been hemmed in. All cities in Gaza have been leveled. They're in 40% of the territory of the original Gaza Strip. There are pogroms going on every day in the West Bank. Israel is leveling all of southern Lebanon. It has annexed more parts of Syria. We are engaged in a war with Iran. The Israeli far right is achieving all of its objectives. I need you guys to understand that is what's going on right now. You are acting like you're winning and you're dictating shit. Are you okay? So we should stick with the J Street position of allowing Israel to purchase weapons directly from the U.S. weapons manufacturers so they can bypass a ban on government sales. Should we be pushing for an full arms embargo and sanctions? Where do you think you are? What country are you in? What world are you in? Do you think that our position has power? Any position that's opposed to Israel? There are sitting Democratic politicians attempting to sabotage their own nominee in Michigan, a key swing state, openly supporting Israel. Your view is marginal. You have no support and power. Very little. There's maybe 25, 30 people in all of Congress who agree with you, even on its face. You are so far from power that it's not even a light at the end of the tunnel. And you spend your time yelling at the few allies you have and mischaracterizing their views to make your own resistance less popular. You are delusional. We have changed the minds of the common person, but we haven't effectively achieved power in our country. Your opinions don't matter, you fucking liberal. Do you understand that? that all of us could agree on something, but if the state is doing something different, that's what will happen? Did you not understand? Like, you don't get the institution? The state is where power resides, not in your mind, not in your polls, not in your bar charts, but in the state, which is the collective will of 350 million people. The state rules society, not the other way around. You have been convinced by some sort of claptrap anarchist liberal bullshit that if we all hold hands and kumbaya, something's gonna manifest. That's not how things work. There is no magic, there is no manifest, there is no consciousness raising level where suddenly everything ticks over. Power is grabbed by the throat. I think like one of the things about social media is everyone's been convinced that posting is the same thing as doing shit. Now you're coming from me, who is a king poster. I am a poster, I'm a streamer, I make money making comments, but I'm trying to redirect you guys into actual, I don't need more people like me posting the same shit as me. That's not power. Power is seizing the state and ordering it to do things, which the Zionists understand. There's only 6 million AIPAC members in America, yet they control the state. How? How are the 6 million members of AIPAC so capable of dictating everything a country of 350 million people are doing? Because they're focused like a laser on power in the state. They're not confused about attacking. They're not going, Randy Fine is not right wing enough. Guys, Randy Fine is only saying nuke Israel sometimes. We should, can you imagine if AIPAC was spending all their time going attacking Randy Fine? That's half the DSA right now. They're spending all their time attacking AOC. It's actually embarrassing to watch because laws allow this happening. Lobbying needs to be illegal. How do you make things illegal? How do you make things illegal? How will we make the necessary things illegal if we have Jeffries as speaker? Well, that's the contradiction that we're talking about, right? That's the contradiction that's being exposed. But who do you think is the reason why there isn't more opposition to Jeffries is we haven't won enough seats. Do you understand that? You spent all your time talking about the few people we've won with and trashing them instead of the fucking enemy. It's insane. You've been jerked around by social media grifters just wasting time yelling about Abdul El-Sayed and AOC and whoever the fuck else you think is not sufficient. If they're not sufficient, win a goddamn election with somebody who is sufficient. I agree with supporting AOC to be clear. I think the level of criticism, I just don't understand her and Zoran's calculation. Okay, I'll explain it to you. They're an extreme minority. When they walk the halls of power, they are ringed by constant attacks and enemies in all directions. And they have very few allies. I mean, she's a backbencher in Congress. There are 435 House members. How many of their names do you know? How many are pro-Israel? I don't understand why we can't operate morally in the fourth rank. I don't understand why things I agree with are not just happening via magic. Because, and this is hard for me to say, you've been trained to be a fucking dope by grifters who are not even successful. These people aren't even as successful.
Have AOC and Bumdadi endorsed Jeffries?
Yes, very much so. We can splice in those. Every time it comes up on the show, I want to splice it in.
Democrats win the midterms. Do you want to see Leader Jeffries become the Speaker of the House?
Yes.
Okay. That was a firm, quick answer.
For me, and we have a broad caucus, right? For me, I have made very clear that one of my priorities in determining and in a leader determination is securing public housing financing for New York City. And Leader Jeffries has made his prioritization for the residents of public housing very clear. And for that reason, I will be supporting Hakeem Jeffries for leader.
Now, this is not at all confusing at all. The answer is Hakeem Jeffries has the vast majority of the caucus supporting him. Do you think it's because AOC and Zoran love Hakeem Jeffries, or is that the balance of power in Congress? Because we don't have enough left-wing members. Do you think you defeat Hakeem Jeffries by yelling at AOC? Are you fucking stupid?
Because people need to know that I'm not being histrionic and unfair, that these people, Zoran Mamdani isn't even in Congress. He could have said, I'm not in Congress and it's none of my business. I'm the mayor of New York. I'm focused on New York. But he said
that so many times. It's crazy that.
Exactly.
So he was asked, do I want the Democrats to control the House after the midterms? Are you stupid? Of course we do. Do you not see reality? Yes, they're fucking horrible. We're gonna fucking die. Are you fucking stupid? Do you understand? Mike Johnson is the Nazi fuck, is the speaker. You stupid fuck. Are you stupid? Jesus fucking Christ. Are you, what are you doing? What the fuck are you talking about? They literally are revoking 200,000 people's visas today and sending them back to fucking wars. You evil rat. Yeah, I want to stop them. Yes, the Democrats are shit. They're shit because we haven't won enough primaries. They're shit because you can't do anything. You fucking losers ran as an independent and finished third in one of the bluest districts in the country. You guys are fucking losers.
What's a foot? What's a foot? Do you know what I mean? Why does he have to say, yes, I support Hakeem Jeffries?
Because normie Democrats want Democrats to win, and that's 99% of the people who agree with us. Because normal people who are on the left want the Democrats to win. And when you say, I don't want the Democrats to win, then the centrists can attack you as being pro-Republican, and it works. Cori Bush. Because normie Democrats agree with us on the issues. They like our positions, but they're focused on defeating the right. And the best strategy to defeat the centrists is to be more anti-Republican than they are. Because it's the numbers. It's the fucking experience. Have you been awake for the last 10 fucking years? Because normal people hate the Republican Party. And if we're seen as helping them, they'll hate us too. Did you not see Nina Turner's race? Did you not see Cori Bush's race? Did you not see how they were defeated? They were defeated by what? Normie Democrats thinking that they would not fight against the Republicans and that we're actually helping the Republicans fight the Democrats. That is the only argument they have. And it works with normie Democrats. That's it. So if you want to win, you have to be seen as, I fight the Republicans. When I canvassed for Jamal Bowman, every attack was for him fighting against Democrats, and the messaging worked. And the reason why this show is dog shit and why Brianna Joey Gray is a fucking moron is because she has no analysis. She's asking why, but there's no analysis.
What's a foot? Do you know what I mean? Why does he have to say, yes, I support Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House? A house I'm not in. That's not my house.
It's so funny.
I love this like performative, I'm against Hakeem Jeffries, but then there is no political strategy for defeating Hakeem Jeffries. The political strategy of defeating Hakeem Jeffries is elect as many DSA members in deep blue districts until the majority of the Democratic caucus is opposed to Hakeem Jeffries. That is the only way to beat him. And how do we get more people in the caucus? It's by winning primaries in the Democratic Party. That's the only way that will work in America under our system. That is the only path. That is it. There is no other strategy. There is no other path. Nothing else will work. If you hate Hakeem Jeffries, you've got to win 50 more primaries and 50 more seats. That's it. That's the only strategy. Is it because I want it to be the only strategy? No. We've tested it. There is no other strategy. If running as a third party worked, we would be talking about incoming Congressman Savant or whatever her fucking name is. If running in a third party worked, we'd be talking to President, oh fuck, what's her name? She's been out of the news for so much. Jill Stein. That shit does not work. And you're not smart for arguing this shit. Bernie Sanders came within a hair's breadth of the presidency twice. And your solution, your suggestion is to abandon the strategy that's clearly working in favor of a strategy that has no inkling or proof that it's working? This isn't about a third parties. If they have a dead majority of 10 and you've got 14 DSA members, you can block it for what you want. That's exactly right. It's about creating a, Democratic Freedom Caucus where we have a more ideological grouping of strong Democrats that can put pressure on the rest of the party to push the party left. It clearly is a good idea. And the choice we have to ask ourselves is, do we want Hakeem Jeffries, who has the support of the vast majority of the caucus, or do we want Mike Johnson, a Donald Trump fascist rubber stamp? Those are the choices that's life.
Have AOC and Bumdadi endorsed?
AOC cited his commitment to securing public housing as the reason for her support for Jeffries. Yes, she got a concession to support Zohran Mamdani's public housing initiatives so that we can demonstrate the effectiveness of socialism in reality to advance our political support among Democratic voters, normal people. Your shit doesn't even get any fucking motion. You were Bernie Sanders' press secretary, bro. You get 200 likes on your shit. And right now, as 200,000 visas are being revoked, the Dem nominee will be 100% pro-Israel. They will be subtle enough about not to embarrass all the vote blue no matter who leftists with Palestine flags in bio. You are a fucking loser. You are a fucking loser. You're Jimmy Dore. You're a fucking loser. The primary hasn't happened yet. The conditions have not developed, and they are improving for our position. And here you are, grifting off of the rage that people feel. You are a fucking loser. This is grifts. That's what a grift is. Like, people don't understand that a lot of really good-hearted people just vote Democrat. That's what people don't like. If you're not involved in electoral politics and you haven't talked to tens of thousands of people about politics, if you've only done it in kind of our safe spaces of left-wing online or left-wing organizing, you don't understand how many good-hearted people who agree with us on everything just vote D, and why taking the slot away from liberals is such a huge advantage. The example that I always show you guys is one of my favorite socialist politicians. Like, I talk about this all the time. Jabari Brisport is exactly the proof of why the argument of like third parties over the primary is wrong. Okay. Jabari ran originally as a Green Party member. He was the original. He ran in the New York City Council District 35 Green Party. He ran a very strong campaign. He got 28.84% of the vote as a Green Party. One of the strongest Green Party candidates in the entire country that year. But he still got smoked. He got absolutely smoked. And you know what happened? They said, you know what? Let's try, instead of running as a Green, why don't we just try entryism? So in 2020, he ran for the New York State Senate District 25 in the primary, and he won. And then guess what happened? He also won the Working Families Party. You know, no one challenged him after that. He got 99.6% of the vote. This is one of our future politicians in New York. Whether it is senator challenging Chuck Schumer, he's going somewhere. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is Jabari, incredibly charismatic, incredibly skilled politician, ran as a third party and therefore lost because people just auto vote Democrat in the general. So he said, fuck it, ran in the primary, and now he's won 3 fucking times. He's the same exact guy with the same exact positions. But again, this doesn't matter. They don't give a shit about testing their beliefs. They don't have any obligation to have a good outcome. Would it have been better for him to run as a Green Party and then lose again and then have some sort of IDC centrist Democrat keep the seat? Or to have a fascinating, inspiring Democratic socialist win? Greens only have 11 elected officials nationwide. Yeah, but they're mostly like very low level offices too. It's actually embarrassing how ineffective the Green Party is. Like, the Green Party of the United States of America may be one of the most pathetic parties in the history of political parties. No state legislators, no Congress people, no governors, obviously. I mean, like, it is just, oh, sorry, chat. I'll show you. If you're 0000, just, can you imagine being Bernie Sanders' press secretary and promoting this loser shit? I mean, this is just embarrassing. Green Party is a fucking joke, and it always has been in the United States. Internal divisions arose between members who saw electoral politics as ultimately corrupting and supported the notion of an anti-party party. Guys, their racial justice sentence. They have a racial justice sentence. What a platform. Membership in the Green Party. Woo! These are people who are registered as green nationwide. And you know, not like people who pay. I don't even know what to say anymore, man. Like, it only frustrates me because we are living in this environment of just such profound unseriousness and grift. And it just gives me despair, dude. This is literally every conversation with these people. You say, woke one was crazy. They reply, you are capitulating to right-wing framing. Focus on materialist analysis. Talk about policy. You say, okay, let's focus on policy, material outcome of the people. Mamdani and AOC may have made socialism popular because they have made lives better for their constituents. They reply, but they're saying woke one was crazy. How else do I put this? For most people, their engagement with politics is repeating slogans. So when you say a slogan they like isn't a good slogan anymore, you are attacking their core identity and their engagement with politics. And it feels like a profound personal defeat because they were never that engaged in the first place. So somebody who is engaged in actual political struggle and has concrete connections to real victories and defeats understands that the sloganeering or arguments or rhetoric change according to the conditions. These people were never in any conditions in the first place. To them, the slogan is the condition. The slogan is the only thing that matters because it's a self-label. It's an identification. And you're asking them to change who they are. And to them, it feels like a profound personal attack. That's why they get so emotional. That's why they are ultimately useless, because they were never engaged in the first place. They have draped themselves in the accoutrement of politics, but have never actually engaged in it. It's like the difference between somebody who dresses up as a soldier to LARP in their bedroom versus somebody who's fighting in combat. Superficially, you may take a picture of the people and they look the same, but one is fighting for something, the other is not. They're playing pretend. They're playing dress up. They're playing make-believe. And unfortunately, in our political discourse, everybody is ejected into the same spaces.
Congratulations. More than half the candidates you endorsed won their primaries.
Our candidate recruitment and our endorsement process, I think, is some of our secret sauce that we really care about.
What role has Gaza played in terms of these primary victories in your view?
Overwhelmingly, Democratic voters don't want to see their taxpayer dollars spent on endless wars and genocide abroad. And yet, only a minority of Democrats in Congress represent...
Yeah, everything not sanctioned by you or Hassan is a LARP. I think one of the problems with engaging with somebody like you is that you just don't have the brain power. So I have to like stoop down and reconstitute your argument for you in order to engage with you. Like you just don't have the brain power. Here, let me do it for you. What you meant to say is, I don't have anything constructive to say, so I'm going to kind of do this bitchy sideways attack. But what I do matters too. No, it doesn't. Because you haven't explained what it is. I think the worst part about our society in general is the kind of way that people have been trained by social media to act confident when you should not act confident. You should not act confident because you are an imposter. You are not competent. Stop presenting yourself as competent. Be unsure of yourself because you should be. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop presenting yourself as if you know what you're talking about because you read some tweets. You don't know. Present yourself as unsure. It is much more endearing.
That view.
What is the Justice Democrats' relationship with the DSA?
We're not really...
Oh, but you can't just capitulate to right-wingers by acting like y'all were crazy in 2020. Nobody's doing that. No one's doing that. Actually, what I want you to understand is you are an emotional being and your life is going the way it is because you don't have control of yourself and you have an external locus of control. And overall, that's very bad. Obviously, we are in a society. We are social creatures. There is institutional oppression. But you have disarmed yourself to such an extent and disempowered yourself. You have learned helplessness. And you believe that you can control the world by controlling how other people talk. Here's the thing you need to understand. We're going to keep saying what we want to say. You can never control me. And it'll never happen. You don't have the juice. You don't have the power. So what you really need to be saying is making a positive argument for what you think should be said and why it will be persuasive and how it will lead from X to Y to Z. Do you understand? You are not capable of that because you have not put in the effort. The reason why people are saying woke one is crazy is because the positions and slogans that are being brought up are unpopular and alienate people from our viewpoint. So people are arguing in favor of a new viewpoint or a new argument or a new rhetorical strategy. They're not arguing for different policies. But you don't know what policies are. So for you, all there is slogans. That's why you're so scared when slogans change, because you don't have any root in a policy world, because you are an apolitical person. So if a slogan changes to you, that's the whole thing. To me, the slogan is nothing. That's why you're bad at this. That's why you lose a lot. Okay, Dolly Parton has died. Thank you, guys. I saw that. It's not a new viewpoint.
Worried about right-wing fear-mongering and division and red scare politics.
What do you believe is the big takeaway from Abdullah?
Calling it woke one implies something is being carried over to the current iteration. What is that thing? Do you think it's just annoying, turbulent online behavior? Or could it be that we still want the anti-bigotry and liberatory sentiment? Exactly. The reason why we say woke 1.0 is because that was the initial version, the initial strategy of our conversation, of our political movement. And it came at a certain time and place. And there were failures and there were successes. And so we have continued the same liberatory politics, the same carceral politics. But we have old slogans and old ways of speaking and old ways of relating to each other that were antisocial and ineffective and were counterproductive to the persuasion of our movement towards the unconverted. And so we are leaving behind old strategies, old slogans, old ways of being that do not advance the ball and are ineffective and have been poisoned. And you being rigid doesn't make you smart. It makes you easy to maneuver again. You are the Maginot Line. You're hiding in your bunker because you don't want to go out there and actually fight. But things are happening around you. You've been bypassed. The social media game is different now. Conversations we have are different now. The conditions are different now. Our institutions are stronger now. The left is more powerful. But at the same time, we are more powerful, so we have to engage more. To have more power, we have to engage with the terrain as it actually exists, not just on a drawing board somewhere.
Say it's victory in Michigan.
These voters are ready to move on from a failed establishment. You can't be leaders for your community unless you are unbought and unbossed.
How worried are you about the general election? Because that could really destroy your entire message if you can win primaries, but then you don't win in the general. It's been a big year for progressives, with key primary wins in states like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Texas. Candidates like Dareliza Avila Chaval.
The reason why people laughed off Woke One is because they were referring to a dumb tweet. And you guys worked with the Republicans to make it about her leaving behind a commitment to social justice. Because you had a goal, damage AOC's reputation. And so you contorted what she said into something that's not what she said in order to try to damage her reputation. For what end? Presumably to fight against the idea that left-wing electoral politics is worth doing. That is what you are, okay? You are a person who sees the success of Zoran or AOC as a refutation of your identity as an anti-electoral leftist. So the more popular they are, the more successful they are, the more that your beliefs are proven to be ineffective and wrong, the more you feel a psychic attack. So in order to do that, you have to reconstitute what she's saying to something she's not saying, so you can launch an attack, presumably to drive down her approval and support with her base, so that she is defeated by presumably Zionism in the electoral realm. So you can point to the electoral realm and say, see, the electoral realm cannot be won. Zionism is winning. We must pursue some other event. Probably, if I had to guess, smells like an anarchist. You sound like a communard. So you probably want to get a group of like 10 to 20 people and go buy some land somewhere, build some yurts, and kind of withdraw. Maybe you'll do like a community garden or something, and you'll opt out of American society. And you're in some sort of like, I don't know, communal experience. Then after that gets boring in 5 to 10 years, you go moving back to the suburbs and you become a Republican. It feels like you're talking to them overly cynical relative to their actual position. I may not be familiar with BJD, but is there a genuine risk of co-option as has happened historically? I think one of the things about me is I value intellect, and I struggle with not dehumanizing people that have like really bad cognitive ability, which is like a really bad thing. And when I say that, I'm not talking about disabled people or anything like that. Just people who don't seem to value logical constructions in their arguments or like orientation toward the world in any way. And so it causes this big empathy gap for me, where when I see something that is so poorly argued, it like, I feel like pure hatred for the person. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's really not good. When I see someone who is like puts forward something that's such a stinker, it fills my heart with hate. And it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. How do you live? How do you live? How are you so disconnected and disoriented in the world around you? Do you have a caretaker? Like, how do you not bump into the walls? How do you function? The chatter was asking me, okay, listen, imagine we are carrying to glorious victory. What about the risks that liberals might co-opt our movement slightly and make it more palatable to the status quo? And like my reaction to that is, it's like, aren't you worried about dying tomorrow? You're fantasizing about the victory feast, not having your favorite flavor of root beer. I don't care about your concerns of some hypothetical 80 steps down the path. Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? Normies who don't value logic are also emotionally immature, and so they spend most of their time and energy not thinking about their feelings and externalizing everything. They're not stupid. They're just invested in not being present in their body in the world. I know. I don't understand how you live like that. How do you live like that? We have barely got a toehold. The fascists are building a Gestapo with $150 billion. They are ripping families apart. They're shooting Americans down in the street in cold blood, and it's not even investigated. They're setting up National Security Memorandum 7 to ban anti-capitalism as a sign of being a domestic terrorist. Hassan Piker is on every news network being slandered as an anti-Semite because one or two of his politicians have succeeded in winning primaries. We have a genocide that's accelerating in Gaza, not slowing down. We have us on the brink of war, of total war in Iran. Our economy is on the brink. The US dollar is ready to crash. You're asking me about my concerns about co-option when we win. We are so far from winning, I don't know what else to explain. If I see us have the opportunity to win in my lifetime, it'll be a fucking shock. I struggle against our so-called allies filleting a Zionist called John Ossoff. My struggle is trying to get even a left-wing politics at all to exist at all. And you're asking me about co-option. Nobody cares about the woke one comment. In fact, the vast majority of people probably agreed with AOC. The vast majority of people seeing that like her more. If you're the type of person that saw the woke one comment and disliked her, you are in a bubble, in a severe online bubble. Most people agree. They think back to the way that people posted in 2018, 2020, 2019 about random social media shit and realize that it was a little bit of silliness there and a little bit of performativity, and laughing it off is the best way. It's not, we're not laughing off the movements because we're still part of them. We are the legacy of them. DSA, AOC, the socialist movement, the pro-Palestine movement. We are the legacy. We are the continuation of those movements. We are the maturation of those movements. We have a direct lineage in those movements. They're a part of our fucking DNA, our soul. It was co-opted. Woke One was co-opted by Joe Biden. You're worried about a co-option that already happened. All that social media liberalism, InPoll has been co-opted by liberals forever. In fact, that's why they're trying to have the first primary in South Carolina, because they're going to do racial InPoll and say that socialists don't care about black people. That's liberal co-option. It isn't communists saying that. It's liberals saying that. Already co-opted. The number one opposition to the left is the co-option of racial justice language by liberals. It's already happened. You're worried about something that we're already battling, and you're helping the liberals do it by slandering our most prominent socialists who care deeply about social justice and are more substantive on it than every other Democrat. And you're slandering them for social media bubbles that have no content and have no membership. You've lost the plot. First time chatter wants me to know that comment was in reference to a tweet about Thanksgiving, and I do wonder how Indigenous Americans felt about disliking that aka being presented as crazy by AOC. I don't think it was crazy. Thanksgiving is a celebration of genocide. No, it is not. You are not okay. Thanksgiving is not a celebration of genocide when Americans practice it. In fact, it's the opposite. It is presented in America's national myths as a coming together of the indigenous population and the settler population, where they learned to cooperate and live in harmony. It is about the national mythos of pluralism. You are completely wrong. You are completely wrong. Now, what happened was indigenous genocide. That is the legacy of America's past. But that's not what Thanksgiving is about. Thanksgiving is about pluralism, celebrating. It is about the pilgrims sitting down to break bread with the indigenous population. That's literally the iconography. That is what it's about. It is the opposite. It's about celebrating pluralism, celebrating our common heritage, coming together with family and friends, and showing gratitude to one another and cooking for one another. It is a feast. It's a feast day. It's a secular holiday to celebrate those that you care about and those that you love. That is what Thanksgiving is for regular people. I can't believe I have to explain this. Are we that high on our own bullshit that we don't know what Thanksgiving is about to the common person? You're that disconnected from reality? You're in that much of a fucking woke bubble where you're going to pretend that Thanksgiving is actually about celebrating indigenous genocide? It is not. Now, indigenous populations, people, may see the celebration as false, as bullshit. That's absolutely valid. And the sentiment expressed during Thanksgiving, I can't help but think about the indigenous genocide. That's normal, and that is woke, and that is a good sentiment. We should never erase the nations that were destroyed by the settlement of America, and we should be grateful for them, and they should be part of our history, and there should be a reckoning with that. But like, what the fuck are you saying? You believed your family was celebrating genocide when they had a turkey? That's what you're saying? That's why what people were saying woke one was crazy, because that's not what people celebrate when they celebrate Thanksgiving. I can't believe I have to have this conversation. Are we okay? It is part of a national myth of pluralism, aka multiculturalism. That's a good thing. That's what we like on the left. We like multiculturalism. We like pluralism. We like that it's not a religious holiday, that it's a secular holiday. Who gives a single shit about the Thanksgiving comments? Oh, wait, now we're pivoting. We were all complaining about how her saying woke one was crazy is racist or whatever the fuck, and a sign that she's abandoning racial justice movements, but now we don't care when I actually talk about it. Oh, okay. The point is that what AOC was saying is that we believe in, we're not trying to destroy you and make you into some sort of evil caricature. That there is and I'll explain it to you because it seems like maybe this will make an impact. The way they fight against socialism is by otherizing it, by making it foreign, by making it a foreign threat. So you appeal to America's sense of nationalism or national identity, and you say that socialism is incompatible with American identity. You have people identify as American. So by otherizing it and making socialism a threat, by saying that it attacks some of the stuff that people find fun or enjoy, like Thanksgiving, that's a part of American identity, you otherize it and you separate it from normal people. So we're not even talking about any of the issues. We're talking about base identity. They're manipulating people by these types of arguments. That's why it's being done. So to push back against that, we must demonstrate that democratic socialism is actually part of our DNA. It's part of America. It's part of what you love about America. It's Martin Luther King Jr. It's Einstein. It's Helen Keller. It's been part of Milwaukee for 100 years. It is as American as apple pie. It is a way of normalizing the ideas and fighting back against the Red Scare and the otherizing of socialism and normalizing it. So then we can then talk about class consciousness. We could talk about the structures and oppressions of society. We could create a growing empathetic circle. But you have a counterculture mentality where you want to reject America. You want to performatively reject America for your brand, for your personal expression. I'm not saying you can't do that. In fact, I love that. That's part of the pluralism and freedom that we all agree on. But people are not celebrating Thanksgiving because it's genocidal. That's not true. And so when AOC said that, she was trying to help Fran, who recognized that risk of being considered to be a kooky, foreign, whatever the fuck. Is it racist? Hell yeah, it was racist. And the effect was what? And again, all of this comes down to policy, right? Why are we doing all these games? Why are we having these conversations about these tweets? Why are we having fights over all these things? Because somebody's going to win the election and somebody's going to be able to do the policies. If we lose, it's going to be the far right. If we win, it's going to be us. And so, for example, on indigenous issues, what is our policy? Indigenous justice was a key plank of the Green New Deal. That's the whole point. Here's a good study on the Green New Deal that I wanted to show you. Comparing emerging transformational climate policies at multiple scales. Building on the ambition and inspiration of the U.S. national level proposal, these Green New Deal policies have been proposed to spur major public investment in multiple interconnected aspects of the transition toward a renewable-based society, including the environment, labor, and infrastructure across multiple levels of government. From U.S. cities to the EU, a broad range of communities, advocates, and organizations have leveraged the Green New Deal framework to advocate for their priorities, including indigenous rights, racial equity, and labor rights. That is the entire point. We are trying to enact massive policies that will empower indigenous communities, that will rectify as much as we can the injustices that have been the legacy of our society. That's what it's about. It's about power over $6 trillion and 350 million people, and whose hands it's in. It smells like they're giving up on policy, except they're not, because again, you don't know anything about policy. You only know about sloganeering. So for you, slogans are the same thing. No one asked about defunding. They asked about abolishment. I mean, defund and abolishment are very similar. They are slogans. They don't have any informational content. Like, abolishment is pretty much not even really, it's not programmatic at all. Defund tends to have more programmatic, but it means whatever people think it means, right? Like, if I said defund the police, do you think that means defund domestic violence enforcement and restraining order enforcement? And anti-stalking enforcement and no more funding rape kits. I mean, presumably your defund would keep all those things in, right? So you don't want to defund 100%. See, that's the point. It's not really a workable it's not a policy. It's a slogan, which is to say a slogan that's stating the intent to take money away from carceral solutions towards other solutions. That's the defund argument. The defund argument is we spend too much money on prisons and policing and not enough on social work, healthcare, education, rehab, city beautification, public housing initiatives. These are the sources of crime, educational opportunities, jobs. That's the stuff that will actually reduce crime. If we focus more money on that, we would actually have more effective outcomes for social order than funding all this cops and shit. That's the argument. Everyone agrees with that. 70% of people agree with that. But if you say it in the form of defund the police, well, now 80% of people disagree. So you took something that was 70-30 and you made it 80-20 against because the slogan is unpopular now. Just sort of like death tax, we don't like that. Estate tax, that's good. So if you want to get rid of the estate tax, you say, I want to get rid of the death tax because it's called rhetoric. The policy is what you're trying to accomplish. The rhetoric is what you use to persuade others to pursue your policy. Can you imagine if the billionaires screamed at the Republicans, how dare you say death tax? We want to abolish the estate tax. Stop calling it the death tax. Call it the estate tax. That's what it is. I refuse to support any politician that says abolish the death tax. That is ideologically inconsistent. You would say that's fucking stupid, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you say, wow, that's a really bad idea? If you're getting the same policy, why aren't you using the effective strategy rhetorically? I can't believe I even have to have this debate. Honestly, do you understand how frustrating this is? Do you understand how batshit crazy having this argument even is for me? Do you understand that I'm in like some part of my brain? I'm like in the fucking sunken place that I even have to say this. Do you understand how embarrassing it is to me that I even have to say it? Doing it for one guy. Okay, one guy. All right, we need to have a, I need to have a Mamdani brain cleanse. Makes everybody unhappy. We're doing a Mamdani brain cleanse. We're doing a sewer socialism brain cleanse. And then I have to go. I don't even want to shill. Fuck. No. Oh no, apparently I didn't keep it. Thank you for supporting the stream. God, I thought I had it, but apparently I didn't. Hold on. Thank you guys for supporting the stream. You guys are the best. Holy shit. Thank you, Ham and Fist.
Well, do you guys want to know how I ended up here? About 2 months ago, I recorded a video asking Mayor Mamdani to help open the playground in McKinley Park. It had been closed for almost 2 years. But guess what? A few weeks later, the park was finally open. I'm really passionate about parks being opened because kids need a safe and fun environment to play in. My parents always told me that my voice matters, and I want to thank them for believing in me and encouraging me to speak up. And I want other kids to know that your voice matters too. If you see something that needs to be changed, never be afraid to speak up.
Say hello to New York City's first ever RENO crew. This is a team dedicated to transforming playgrounds, sports courts, and rec centers at parks across the 5 boroughs. The basketball hoop that is hanging on for dear life, the water fountain that has not worked since spring, or the fence that looks like it's about to give up entirely. If it is broken, this crew will fix it. No longer will New Yorkers have to wait months for city government to fix their parks and their playgrounds. The RENO crew will show up, get the job done, and move on to the next location that needs them.
Well,
I wanted to find the original video, but I can't find it. Sorry that it took me so long.
Mayor Mamdani launching the new RENO crew to bring faster repairs and better parks to New Yorkers. RENO crew features 24 painters, electricians, plumbers, and other trade specialists, focusing on making fast, visible improvements to playgrounds, recreation centers, and sports courts around the city. RENO crew will repaint chipped playground equipment and fences, as well as repair park amenities, replace protective flooring on playgrounds, as well as restore site features that have suffered from just general wear and tear.
The basketball hoop that is hanging on for dear life, the water fountain that has not worked since spring, or the fence that looks like it's about to give up entirely. If it is broken, this crew will fix it. The overgrown tennis court, the rusted swing set, the bench that needs a new coat of paint. If it is run down, this crew will renew it. No longer will New Yorkers have to wait months for city government to fix their parks and their playgrounds.
Now, by tackling these high-impact projects quickly, the team improves the visitor experience while extending the life of park infrastructure.
Donnie to help.
So, queen of the stage, Dolly Parton, has died. Damn. This is why I get pissed off when people are supposed to say. I mean, like, the reality is that Zohar Mamdani is surrounded by a quadrillion enemies, and people aren't even curious to know who they are. You know, like, we have a left-wing movement of children, and I'm realizing that it's never going to change on its own. That I need to stop raging at it because it just makes me unlikable, and you guys feel disempowered. And I'm not gonna make everybody suddenly like more able to analyze society. As much as I want that to happen, that's not gonna happen, and I need to change my strategy. My new strategy is I'm just going to tell you what to do. I will have arguments for it. I'm not just gonna bark orders, but I'm going to be more constructive. Me just being mad and misanthropic about how people don't understand the world around them. It's embarrassing.
Of course not, but y'all believe anything when you did not see Spider-Man in Central Park wearing Tim's. Of course not, but y'all believe anything when you're not from here. Whatever, Hold up a second, I'm gonna order real quick. Right.
Yo, can I get a bacon, egg, and cheese?
Nah, man, all of our systems are down.
Oh, that's cool. I'll just call Mom Donnie. He'll come fix it.
That's not how Mom Donnie works.
Did somebody say New York? Mom Donnie! How you doing, man? Another day making the city safer for New Yorkers. Problem should be fixed now.
Did he just fix an electrical issue by himself?
Nah, man, it was a couple of our highly intelligent public service workers. Now, who wants to drink from the new water fountains at the new soccer field?
Me! I got water in my house.
Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I said I got water in my house.
Oh, yeah, we got that too, and all the new stuff, and the mayor, and the Knicks.
Hey, I'm gonna let you go, man. You breaking up.
Oh, the Wi-Fi from our fast and free bus must be breaking up. I'll call Mom Donnie real quick.
No, don't call Mom Donnie.
Did somebody say New York?
Mom Donnie!
Sorry for the inconvenience. To make it up to you, here's some ice cream and a free puppy.
Yeah!
What? Hold on, sorry. He's talking this girl through a breakup real quick.
Why is he doing that? That's not his job.
Well, really, he inspired us to come together as a community and embrace her with the heart of the city. This is why I love living in New York. Did somebody say New York?
Mom Donnie! Hang up on me, bro.
And tomorrow I'm gonna get those potholes fixed.
Right. You did not see Spider.
And by the way, like, you'll see a lot of people say, like, oh my God, you guys are being stans. And it's like, no, we're not. We're watching regular people become stans. Regular people are starting to trust him. This is something that I've talked about. This is for a long time, which is you guys are if you're an ideological left winger, you are not who we're talking to. You should already be involved with breaking your back in DSA right now. If you're not, if you're still hanging out posting, then who the you're fucking useless to me. The point is that regular ass motherfuckers can see it working. And then they start going, where is my Mom Donnie? And then when we run out there and run for power, because we're the ideological core of the movement, and people will say, that's our Mom Donnie, regular people will trust us with authority. And then we implement our policy. Because normal motherfuckers don't want to read a book. Normal motherfuckers don't want to read a policy program. They don't want to read a 500-page document. They just want shit to work. And when we have their trust and we have conversations about class consciousness or the boss or joining a union or going on strike, that is how we build that trust, through a continual process that goes back and forth. And what frustrates me is people, honest to God, think that we've like won already or something. Anyway. I'm never going to I'm never going to be able to like make people focus on what matters unless I show them. And like, I feel like now that the primaries are coming to an end, people are getting bored again. Because again, they don't have any campaigns to work on, right? They start reverting back to the dumb bullshit that they revert to when they're bored. And I just need to hold space, cover drama, grow the channel, and then, you know, try to keep my own personal morale up by not focusing on the dumb bullshit. Like, obviously, Brianna Joy Gray is just going to keep saying dumb shit about AOC from now until eternity. I just need to, you know, I don't pay attention to Jimmy Dore anymore. Why do I give a fuck about any of these dumb people? Honest to God. No Quebec referendum until Trump is gone. That's funny.
And Zoran again. What has your mayor done? There they go, Glaze and Zoran again. What has your mayor done? You can't win with these people. You could fix every pothole in the city. You could make libraries free forever.
You could pay niggas to shovel snow.
You could pay people to shovel snow. When you fucking dweebs get in the comments and be like, there they go, Glaze and Zoran again. What has your mayor done?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry that we're proud that we finally have some fucking advocacy in a world where Trump is falling asleep next to RFK, who is literally shaking, reading the "fuck you, I'm gonna kill you, die in a fire, you piece of shit" bill. I'm sorry that we no longer have to deal with Eric fuck off Adams, thirst trapping all live, holding cucumbers with no shirt.
I was about to say, I was like, you do have to deal with him because he's outside with his titties out.
A victory light. There they go, Glaze and Zoran again. What has your mayor done?
Meanwhile, Jared Moskowitz has just been named as the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee on the Middle East and North Africa. The Democrats have decided to make their leading member on the Middle East be Jared Moskowitz. And you guys are trying to attack DSA and AOC. You don't realize we're in a fucking death struggle and you spend your time shooting your own side. Wake the fuck up, man. I'm proud to welcome Representatives Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Mark Pocan, and Wesley Bell to the House Foreign Affairs Committee. So in other words, 3 of the 4 members of the House Foreign Affairs Committee are dyed-in-the-wool Israel first extremists. And with that, I gotta jump. I gotta jump. Sending you over to Hassan. I just think I just wish that I knew a better way than being frustrated. You know what it is, chat? It's that I think of you guys and gals and non-binary pals as my refuge, as the thousands of people that get it. And then I come in here and instead of having a conversation about where we are and what concrete steps we need to take to improve our position, I just get this dumbass shit and it's so stupid and it's just so common. It actually fucking shakes me up. It shakes me up more when there are people that are dedicated who consider themselves left-wing to attack Mamdani and AOC all day than fighting Zionists. I have infinite energy to fight Zionists. But when I run into people going like, AOC is supporting Hakeem Jeffries for speaker. Guys, we gotta hate AOC. And then it's like, that's why we gotta run Green Party. I don't know what else to say. It throws me off. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.